Chapter 886. The two enormous centipedes were both 100 kilometers long, and the golden armored scorpion was only 20 long. It was like a huge mountain compared to an ant. Ha! The golden armored scorpion gently swung its tail, causing the air to tremble and explode. Cracks appeared in the space. The golden armored scorpion's blood-red crystal eyes stared hard at Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow Emperor. Ow! The golden armored scorpion fiercely roared. Ga! Ga! The two enormous centipedes obediently cried out and laid down respectfully. The golden armored scorpion crawled slowly. However, it kept staring at Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow Emperor. Luo Feng too stared at the golden armored scorpion. Master, this golden armored monster is very strong. I've only exchanged blows with it for an instant. Heavy Arrow Emperor communicated, even though it doesn't understand any origin laws. In terms of pure attack power, it should be stronger than an Emperor-level pinnacle Undying, and its tail should be its strongest attack part. Luo Feng stared at the golden armored scorpion and communicated, have you discovered its weakness? No. The Heavy Arrow King said, previously, when I fought against the giant Forbidden Land Guard, I discovered that the giant Forbidden Land Guard's body defense was relatively weak. My arrows could pierce through it. Of course, this might be because there was a golden armored monster hidden inside. Therefore, when I was designing the Forbidden Land Guard's abdomen defense was weak. As for this golden armored monster, its defense is much stronger. Dealing with it will be very troublesome. Master, we can't fight head-on. We should just stall for time as time goes on. We might find the passage to the forbidden space. That way we can swiftly leave. These guards have no way of leaving the forbidden space they are in. Luo Feng stared carefully. He always felt that even though the golden armored scorpion seemed to be looking at him and Heavy Arrow Emperor, most of its attention was on him, and not the stronger Heavy Arrow Emperor. Howl! The golden armored scorpion suddenly roared piercingly. Rumble! Rumble! In the distance, the two enormous centipedes that were obediently lying like two meandering mountain ranges suddenly moved, simultaneously flying towards the Heavy Arrow Emperor. Of course, because their bodies were too big, and Luo Feng and the Heavy Arrow Emperor were close, at first glance, Luo Feng and the Heavy Arrow Emperor thought the two enormous centipedes were attacking them. Luo Feng immediately flapped his wings and dodged. The Heavy Arrow Emperor dodged too, using the Fire God Origin Crystal to fight the guards of the Forbidden Area, burning Undying God power. It was not worth it. Wasting time. He endured until he discovered the passage within the forbidden space. Caw! Caw! The two giant centipedes screamed and unexpectedly chased after the Heavy Arrow King at the same time. One on the left and one on the right. With their huge bodies, it was as if two huge, fiery clouds had descended. There were also countless giant scythes, claws, that were tens of kilometers long, like a forest of blades, shrouding the Heavy Arrow King. A faint bell shadow appeared on the surface of the Heavy Arrow Monarch's body. He was a peak Kinkenford expert, and he had an undying body. He also had the purple bell protecting his body. Even if he used the strongest Fire God Origin Crystal to blow him up, it would be difficult to damage even 1% of his undying divine body. These two giant centipedes looked powerful and were suppressing the Heavy Arrow Monarch, but in reality, they could not harm the Heavy Arrow Monarch at all. That's weird. Luo Feng noticed the two giant centipedes surrounding the Heavy Arrow Monarch. He was shocked. Howl! The golden armored scorpion that had been waiting in the distance and staring at Luo Feng finally moved. Shio! That scorpion's tail waved, and like a golden bolt of lightning, it shot straight at Luo Feng. Let's see just how strong this golden armored scorpion is. Luo Feng was confident in his defense. Plus, the scorpion's body wasn't as big as the giant centipedes. Being trapped by the giant centipedes was very troublesome. However, against the golden armored scorpion, with its 20 long body, Luo Feng only had a flash, and he could escape anytime. The golden armored scorpion and the silver armored and silver winged Luo Feng a golden light and a silver light, immediately clashed in midair. Hong! The resplendent silver blade light river clashed with that huge pincer. And the scorpion tail that was even faster than the pincer became a golden beam of light and pierced straight at Luo Feng, who was flying backwards from the intense clash. However, Luo Feng's reaction was fast, using a simple wing to block. Chi! The sharp scorpion tail and Shi Wu's wings clashed. This was an attack that could even send an emperor-level pinnacle warrior flying. Luo Feng immediately became a silver beam of light and flew backwards from the impact. As for the golden armored scorpion, it too had kicked a metal plate. The undamaged Shi Wu's wings produced a huge recoil. It caused the golden armored scorpion to fly backwards. The heavy arrow monarch is right. His wings fiercely flapped, and he immediately stopped in midair. Looking at the golden armored scorpion, the golden armored scorpion's tail is indeed shockingly strong. Against this automaton puppet, Mo venom won't be of any use at all. Then take my other attack. Luo Feng wielded his blood shadow blade, and immediately became a beam of light and rushed forward. Ow! The golden armored scorpion, too, became a beam of light and rushed forward. Going head-on, it wasn't afraid at all. Luo Feng's blade rose. The golden armored scorpion's huge pincer was about to block too. Wah! Luo Feng's right wing fiercely shook, and the silver Shi Wu wings immediately unleashed Bright Moon Technique. One had to know that this was originally a technique created for the wings. After being modified and used on the blade, the golden armored scorpion that had always been wary of Luo Feng's blade was suddenly attacked by the silver wings and panicked. As the distance between them was too close, Luo Feng had instantly unleashed it at an extremely close distance. Chi! The edges of the wings were incredibly sharp. As a treasure, the Shi Wu wings were even sharper than the blade itself. Hua! The space seemed to have been sliced apart by an unparalleled god using a paper knife. A silver beam of light flowed along the crack and passed through the body of the golden armored scorpion. At the moment of contact, the special space energy formed by the Shi Wu wings drilled right into the scorpion's body. Even undyings would be corroded and damaged by this space energy, and the golden armored scorpion's resistance was obviously weaker. Ka, chi, 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 a weird sound, almost like a guillotine cutting through steel. The golden armored scorpion was forced to retreat. On the surface, the golden armor was unharmed. However, its body was already damaged. The golden armored scorpion, however, rolled and fell into the distant desert, causing a large amount of sand and dust, not moving at all. GA. In the distance, the two huge centipedes that had been attacking the heavy arrow emperor immediately flew over, not caring about the heavy arrow emperor anymore. After flying over, one of them fiercely opened its mouth and swallowed the golden armored scorpion's metal, after which it looked at Luo Feng and the heavy arrow emperor and drilled into the desert. The two huge centipedes drilled into the desert. There was a slight movement in the desert, after which it returned to normal and vanished. Heavy arrow emperor flew over and landed beside Luo Feng. It was defeated that easily. Luo Feng frowned. Heavy arrow emperor, who had been watching Luo Feng's battle, said, "Master, I only clashed with its tail before. As for its body's resistance, I'm not sure. Maybe Master's attack just now has damaged its energy core. After all, it's small. The attack's impact can easily reach its energy core." Hearing the heavy arrow emperor's explanation, Luo Feng agreed within. The automaton puppets were indeed like that. It was very hard to destroy their bodies. The normal way to defeat them was to break their energy core. However, he still felt that something wasn't right. Heavy Arrow Emperor has never met such a troublesome Forbidden Area guard in all these years. This is my first time here, the first forbidden area I've entered, and I've already met with such trouble. Also, that golden armored scorpion was lured out by the Heavy Arrow Emperor. However, the golden armored scorpion didn't go deal with the Heavy Arrow Emperor, instead choosing to deal with me. and I can feel the golden armored scorpion and the huge centipede's eyes seem to have emotions. They're truly filled with killing intent, as if they really want to kill me. Don't tell me my arrival in the Star Tower has caused them to view me as an enemy? Luo Feng frowned. He had been thinking about everything that had happened since he entered the Star Tower. Even though he could feel the entire Star Tower calling out to him endlessly, he was unable to recognize him as its owner. Obviously, this matter wasn't as simple as obtaining the armor, general armor, or emperor armor. And for a treasure like the Star Tower that stands at the pinnacle of the vast universe, it couldn't be that simple. The closer I get to victory, the more careful I have to be. The Star Tower is special to me. Special represents two situations. One is that it's friendly to me, and the other is that it's trying to kill me. Luo Feng thought to himself, even if I was the one who created the Star Tower and left it behind, I wouldn't casually give such a treasure to a junior. Don't tell me he can get such a treasure just because of luck? Impossible. Even for the pinnacle existences in the vast universe, the Star Tower is an extremely important treasure. Luo Feng's soul might be excited, but he could still remain calm within his excitement. Seeing one's true self, going straight to the heart. He would laugh when he should, get excited when he should, get nervous when he should, and get angry when he should. Everything went according to his heart. However, that didn't mean that Luo Feng would be blinded by greed. He wouldn't think that his luck was so good that he could easily get a treasure like the Star Tower. If that really happened, he might even lose his life. I have a feeling. The Star Tower could very well be the place where I die. Luo Feng's gaze swept across the desert in the forbidden space. The golden armored scorpion and the centipede's eyes that were filled with emotions and killing intent made him feel a chill. The chill he felt wasn't because of the guards in the forbidden space, but the entire Star Tower. If the Star Tower had a master in the past, it could very well be the Nameless Manual's creator. I was lucky enough to get the Nameless Manual. Don't tell me. This Star Tower is a true elimination for people like me who rely on luck to get the Nameless Manual? Luo Feng thought to himself, success, life, failure, death? Thoughts flashed through Luo Feng's mind. Master, I've found the passage. Heavy Arrow Emperor shouted, waking Luo Feng from his thoughts. Ah, passage. Luo Feng looked around. Master, it's over there. Heavy Arrow Emperor led the way. So, very quickly, they arrived in the distance. In the middle of the desert, there was a desert whirlpool. Within the endless whirlpool, it was pitch black, with little bits of starlight. This is the passage. I've been through this many times. Heavy Arrow Emperor said. Luo Feng nodded. Let's go. With one step, he entered the desert whirlpool. P.S. Chapter 2 has ended. Continue writing Chapter 3. Chapter 887. The moment he entered, he landed on the stone bridge. Obviously, he had already left the original forbidden space. This is... Luo Feng surveyed his surroundings. He couldn't help but be shocked. Within the endless space, a stone bridge meandered and spiraled, extending into the distance. This stone bridge didn't have anything to support it. It just floated in space and continued extending. Master, this is the passage. Heavy Arrow Emperor landed beside, respectfully pointing at the end of the stone bridge. It was a stretch of nothingness. Walk to the end of this passage, and you'll arrive at the next forbidden space. What's below? Luo Feng gazed below. Below the stone bridge was endless space. Can we fly down? It's fine to fly down. Heavy Arrow Emperor smiled. Normally, when walking on the passage, if you're lucky, you'll be able to see the ceiling star. However, the location of the ceiling star is very dangerous. There's a formless barrier preventing you from getting close. If you try to force your way in, you'll pretty much die. I've seen quite a few ceiling stars. If you're lucky, you'll see one every 1 or 2 years. If you're unlucky, you'll see one every 1,000 years. Back then, those foreign race emperors who coincidentally saw the ceiling star were extremely excited. Some of them risked their lives to steal it. Yet they all died. Once every 1 or 2 years. Luo Feng gazed below. I think I've already seen it. Ah. Heavy Arrow Emperor was shocked, looking down too, following which he stared wide-eyed. It's true. Luo Feng gazed down into the space below. In the depths of the endless space, there seemed to be a star slowly churning. This star was comparable to a normal planet. It had an energy that made one's heart palpitate. It cycled over and over again, with a constant speed within the endless space. Treasures. Luo Feng said softly. Heavy Arrow Emperor, however, said, you can only see it but not obtain it. There are many sealing stars within the star tower. Just the recording alone is already a lot. There are still many that haven't been discovered yet. It's a pity the sealing stars don't automatically appear. Even the four great races, the invincible overlords of the universe, have no way to forcefully obtain them. Luo Feng continued walking forward. Another sealing star. The Heavy Arrow King exclaimed as he walked on the rock bridge and looked down. Luo Feng walked and looked around. Below the stone bridge in the endless space, he could occasionally see a slowly rolling sealing star. In different locations in the depths of space, one could vaguely make out these sealing stars. They had been rolling at a constant speed for trillions of years, never stopping until they were born. Just as Luo Feng was walking on the stone bridge, he received a call request, immediately sending a thread of his consciousness into the virtual universe to accept the call. Yang, Sky Array King. Luo Feng was shocked and laughed. This Sky Formation Emperor was a human. Even though Luo Feng had only been in the Alliance for a short period of time, he had already interacted with many human emperors and knew them. There were also many who were in closed-door training, too proud and aloof, or exploring universe secret regions, etc. Even though they didn't know Luo Feng had gathered some basic information about them. I'm at Star Tower. Through the Army's internal system, I found your coordinates nearby, so I immediately looked for you, said Sky Array King. Luo Feng nodded. The Army system could collect every soldier's coordinates and then integrate them in the virtual universe. Even in the special environment of Star Tower, one couldn't scan the other forbidden spaces. They could still find their comrades and allies. I've already contacted a few friends because I was suddenly attacked by the guards in the forbidden space, causing me quite a bit of trouble. This is very rare. After contacting a few friends, I discovered 3 of them met with the same situation. What about you? Sky Array King said. You guys too? I too met with the guards' attacks. Luo Feng said. Things are getting serious. Looks like the chances of the sealing star appearing is very high. The Sky Array King said, If the sealing star appears, the countless forbidden spaces in the Star Tower will naturally lead the experts of the nearby clans to gather at the place where the sealing star appears. Every time the sealing star appears, there'll be a huge massacre. You have to be careful too. Enough talk. I'll enter the next forbidden space. After ending his call with Sky Array King, Luo Feng received calls from 6 of his allies from the same camp. They were all comrades and allies of the human camp within 1 billion kilometers. They too met with some trouble, suspecting if the sealing star was about to appear. Especially after talking to his friends, they realized the possibility was very high. The sealing star, is it really about to appear? Luo Feng was cautious within. Even though the sealing star was a valuable treasure, Luo Feng, who had the space-locking arm, general armor, emperor armor, killing Wu Featherwings, and purple clock, had high standards. Especially with the fact that he was being summoned by the entire Star Tower, he definitely wouldn't act rashly and blindly just because a sealing star was about to appear. The sealing star usually only appears once in a long time. The moment I arrive, one will appear. Coincidence? It doesn't seem like it. Luo Feng became even more cautious, asking, Heavy Arrow Emperor, what's the situation with the appearance of the sealing star? The situation is different, but all sorts of abnormalities will appear in the Star Tower. Furthermore, the spatial zones of the Forbidden Grounds are interconnected, which will naturally lead the surrounding experts of other races to gather together. In the end, it will be a bloody massacre, the Heavy Arrow King explained. Let's go. Luo Feng nodded and didn't speak further, quickly reaching the end. Looking at the endless space below the stone bridge, he could vaguely see the slowly moving ceiling stars. Luo Feng kept the heavy arrow emperor in his world ring and stepped through the exit alone, entering another forbidden space. This was an ocean world. The moment Luo Feng entered, the entrance had already vanished. The silver-armored and winged Luo Feng stood in the air above the calm ocean, surveying his surroundings, searching for the passage to the next forbidden space. Under normal circumstances, the passage was extremely easy to find. It was said that it would take him most a day's time to find it. Hua hua, the calm ocean suddenly began to surge, emitting the sound of the water. Then there was a loud explosion. An ear-piercing, high-pitched sound rang out, and a snake-like monster with a blue neck and metallic scales abruptly sprang out of the water. The part of its body above the water surface was about 2 kilometers long, and its lower body seemed to have claws, causing the entire sea to shake and roar. That pair of golden eyes stared at the distant silver-armored and winged human in the air. Another forbidden space guard? Luo Feng muttered to himself. This star tower seemed to be really unfriendly towards Luo Feng. From the first to the 9th forbidden space, every forbidden space had drawn out a forbidden space guard, and their battle styles, methods, and danger levels were all different. The 7th forbidden space was the most dangerous one Luo Feng had met. Back then he met a 2M tall black metal gorilla. This short gorilla guard wielded 2 huge hammers, yet it was shockingly fast and incredibly agile. The smaller the body, the more agile it was. The black gorilla was the most agile one Luo Feng had met in the 9 forbidden spaces. Its speed and dodging were comparable to Luo Feng's, and the 2 hammers in its hands were even more terrifying than the heavy arrow emperor's attacks. The heavy arrow emperor could only be used as a shield. Unless he ignited his undying body, he had no way of fighting back. This was the first time Luo Feng used all his strength to use the Wu Killer Wings, occasionally blocking the hammers, occasionally dodging. After fighting for over half an hour, he finally found the exit. Only then did he exit the 7th forbidden space. When Luo Feng and the heavy arrow emperor escaped, the metal gorilla was still raging. Luckily, it's just a metal puppet. It can't ignite its undying body. Luo Feng muttered. It's crazy, this forbidden space guard. Just in terms of battle strength, it's already completely beyond the limits of an emperor, even close to invincible. If it's a true god, it can ignite its undying body just a little bit and it can explode with 1,000 times its strength. We have no way of fighting back. The heavy arrow emperor, too, was stunned by the power of the forbidden space guard. After the 9th forbidden space, Luo Feng didn't meet any more attacks from the guards. Within the star tower, he headed down the many forbidden spaces. The 21st forbidden area. Luo Feng sat cross-legged on a fireball. It carried him straight towards the entrance of the 21st forbidden space. The 21st forbidden space, this was a swamp world, and at this time in the air above the swamp world, there were 2 groups of alien undyings gathered. One group was the automaton camp, a total of 22 alien undyings, all of them emperor level, and 2 of them were automaton. Automaton emperor, and there were 2 of them. And the other group was the Bug Clan camp. There were only 6 other race emperors, however their aura was obviously much stronger. Because of these 6, one of them was an emperor-level puppet controlled by the Bug Clan emperor. That puppet naturally meant that the terrifying Bug Clan Undying was here. The Bug Clan Queen Undying. Any one of them represented an unrivaled and terrifying battle strength. I didn't expect to meet them the moment I arrived. This is going to be troublesome. However, there's no need to fear. When the ceiling star appears, our race's life-destruction emperor will definitely appear. With our automaton race working together, why would we fear the Bug Clan? Similarly dressed in black armor, the 2 automaton race members exchanged glances. Beside them were 20 other emperor-level undyings. Obviously, they were the leaders. The automaton race had very few numbers. Any emperor-level undyings represented a terrifying automaton empire, extremely terrifying. Of course, under normal circumstances, they were weaker than the Bug Clan Undyings. The Bug Clan didn't have an emperor-level Undyings. As long as the Bug Clan Queen was undying, that represented the most terrifying being below the Knights of the Universe, controlling the undying bug army. One combined attack would cause countless races of the universe to tremble in fear. Hua! In the distance, a crack appeared out of nowhere. A silver-armored, silver-winged silhouette flew out and floated in the air above the swamp. The automaton camp, the bug clan camp, these two camps had long been in a stalemate. However, towards that lone warrior, both sides didn't care. It's the Blade River Emperor. It's the human Blade River Emperor. Oh, the Blade River Emperor that killed the Blood Beast Emperor and caused the Heavy Arrow Emperor to fall into a deep slumber? The automaton camp and bug clan camp quickly went on high alert. A person's name was like a tree's shadow, with the Blade River Emperor's name. They didn't dare underestimate him. This is arriving at the 21st Forbidden Space, looking at the two opposing groups of alien race emperors, especially the powerful energy they emitted. Luo Feng's heart tightened. Chapter 888. Luo Feng looked carefully. In the air above the swamp, there were two groups of powerful alien undyings. One group was large in numbers, the other small in numbers. The large group had two automaton race members that were especially eye-catching, both dressed in black armor, surrounded by the other alien emperor undyings. Obviously, their positions weren't ordinary. It's a pity I don't recognize them. Even though Luo Feng had gathered much information, he understood more about the alien emperor of the Sacrifice Yin continent. As for the Star Pagoda, there were hundreds of thousands of alien emperors. Many of them were from other factions. It wasn't easy to gather information on them. The other side, Luo Feng's gaze swept. The small group only had 6 alien emperors. However, from the looks of the two sides, their gazes, their natural energy, one could deduce that the smaller group had the upper hand. It's him. Luo Feng stared fiercely at one of the 6 different race emperors in the distance. His energy was exceptionally strong, not any weaker than Ash Gold Emperor or Heavy Arrow Emperor. His face was ugly and about 3 m tall. His entire body was covered in a black cuticle layer. His face even had 8 soft black feelers that drooped down from the edge of his face. His small eyes under the cuticle layer shot out a cold light. He, Bai Clan, Skeleton Needle Emperor. In the entire 7th battlefield, he was extremely famous. However, his fame wasn't because he was at the pinnacle of the Emperor, nor was it because he came from the powerful Bai clan. It was because he was a soul slave. A soul slave controlled by the Bug Emperor Undying. If he was here, that meant his master was here too. Bug Emperor Undying. Luo Feng's heart tightened. Nan Chong, Nan Chastity, was a name that the immortal queen of the insect race had given herself. Within the insect race, there was no such thing as a marquis or king. Naturally, the immortal queen of the insect race was simply called Nan Chastity, not King Nan Chastity. But in the entire 7th battlefield, the vast majority of experts would gather information on her because she was the immortal queen of the insect race. The Queen Mother Nan Shu. She has many at the limit and pinnacle of emperors under her command, of which the Bai Clan Skeleton Needle Emperor is the one with the strongest defense. Hence, normally it's the Skeleton Needle Emperor that moves outside. That Queen Mother Nan Shu and her undying bug army are all within the world ring. Luo Feng thought, no wonder the automaton race is so strong, but they're still being suppressed. Only now did Luo Feng realize this was the Star Tower. The 7th battlefield was the highest level battlefield in the entire outer domain. It was difficult to even find a king-ranked, formidable martial artist in the Yinji continent. It was even harder to find a peak-stage, king-ranked, formidable martial artist who specialized in soul attacks. However, in the Star Tower, there were many peak-stage, king-conferred kings from billions of races. Although peak-stage, king-conferred kings who specialized in soul attacks were rare, there were still quite a number of them. There were even some extremely terrifying existences. For example, Empress Mother Nan Shui and other similar existences were very powerful because of their race and treasures. They could be considered invincible Regis god-fiends. However, compared to the true, unrivaled titled emperors, True, Yin, who was comparable to normal universe paragons, he was still slightly weaker. The Queen Mother Nansheng and the others were known to be invincible below the universe paragons. But against the universe paragons, they were dumbfounded and had no way to resist. From this, one could see the difference between the Queen Mother Nansheng and True Yin. However, in the seventh battlefield of the outer domain, the Queen Mother Nansheng was already considered one of the pinnacle existences. Beings like True Yin were rare, even among the trillions of races in the universe. Their numbers were extremely low. They were all searching for opportunities to step into the night level. Not many would enter the outer domain battlefield, as it posed no challenge to them. In the air, the automaton camp, the Bug Clan camp, Luo Feng alone, these three groups floated in mid-air, simultaneously scanning the entire restricted space, searching for an exit. Luo Feng didn't try to get close to them. After all, these two groups were his enemies. They could attack him at any time. Why bother? You are the Blade River Emperor? A hoarse voice resounded. Luo Feng turned to look. The one who spoke was the automaton camp's group of alien undyings. He was one of the taller ones, with a metal plate-like face and a large black mouth. From a human's point of view, his appearance was simple and honest. This honest alien warrior seemed to be smiling at Luo Feng. Who are you? Luo Feng looked at him. I am Morning Chaos Emperor, Purple Bell Emperor's good brother. Morning Chaos Emperor smiled. Purple Bell Emperor's brother? Luo Feng frowned as he looked at him. Back when he was gathering information on Purple Bell Emperor, he didn't find this information. However, Morning Chaos Emperor and Purple Bell Emperor were both from the automaton camp. They might really have some connection. Besides, the automaton camp's other alien emperor undyings were happily watching the show, even though they were wary of Luo Feng. However, whether it was them or the Bug Clan, they all had the right to look down on Luo Feng. In terms of absolute power, both sides were the true strongest. Purple Bell, Emperor's good brother. What's the matter? Luo Feng looked at him. Blade River Emperor. Morning Chaos Emperor laughed. Quite arrogant. However, you have to understand, this is Star Tower, not Yenji Continent. In Star Tower, especially here, whether it's us or the Bug Clan, you have no right to be arrogant at all. Huh? Laughter could be heard from the side. Laughter could be heard from the automaton camp. The Bug Clan, too, watched the show from the side. Luo Feng, however, creased his eyebrows. He could feel the automaton camp's enmity towards him, especially this Morning Chaos Emperor. He was filled with disdain and killing intent. Back in Yenji Continent, he killed Purple Bell Emperor and 13 other Emperor-level warriors. He made his name by stepping on the automaton camp. The automaton camp's enmity towards him was understandable. I don't have the right to be arrogant in front of either camp. I don't either. However, you, a little Morning Chaos Emperor, you dare to be arrogant in front of me? Luo Feng laughed. You're looking for... Morning Chaos Emperor raged. However, his voice stopped. In the distance, beside the silver-armored, silver-winged Luo Feng, a tall silhouette suddenly appeared. It was that black-masked, tall, skinny man. That powerful aura was definitely comparable to the strongest warriors of the Bug Clan and automaton camp in this forbidden space. Heavy Arrow Emperor. It's the Heavy Arrow Emperor. His aura is so strong. It's his perfect condition. The slumbering Heavy Arrow Emperor, in such a short time, has completely recovered his strength. The automaton camp and Bug Clan camp were all shocked. Before, even though they thought highly of Luo Feng, they didn't really put him in their eyes. However now, the automaton camp and Bug Camp's warriors all became cautious within. Even the automaton camp's warriors who were sneering earlier had their smiles retracted. They were no longer as arrogant and disdainful. They all felt threatened. To be able to let the slumbering Heavy Arrow Emperor fully recover his strength, they had to pay over 100 billion mixed elements. Just this amount of wealth was enough to prove Luo Feng's threat. Also, Luo Feng and the Heavy Arrow Emperor's alliance wasn't to be trifled with. Morning Chaos Emperor, recognize your position. Luo Feng stared coldly at him, after which he didn't look at him anymore. Master, Heavy Arrow Emperor, stood respectfully behind him. Heavy Arrow, remember, don't reveal that you have the purple clock. You have it. It's one of my trump cards. Luo Feng communicated mentally. Understood. Heavy Arrow Emperor's consciousness replied. The limit of an emperor was terrifying. The limit of an emperor with a purple clock. That was even more terrifying. One would know, just by looking at the purple clock emperor, he was only at the pinnacle of the emperor with the purple clock, and he had already destroyed 2 limit emperors. And now, the Heavy Arrow King had Zizhong's Limit King conferred realm. Luo Feng glanced at the distant 2 sides. He was very clear in the world of the strong. Displaying one's strength was the way to gain respect. And if he kept a low profile, he would only be bullied. Even the pinnacle of the Emperor Morning Chaos Emperor came to take a piss on his head. That was proof. Suddenly, I found the exit. Exit. Hua. Hua. The 2 groups of warriors immediately flew into the distance. Luo Feng and the Heavy Arrow Emperor too flew into the distance. The exit was the closest to the Bug Clan. Luo Feng was also relatively close. The other direction where the Automaton Clan was the furthest. The 3 sides all flew towards the exit. Blade River Emperor, my Automaton and the Bug Clan will enter first. You better stay behind. Morning Chaos Emperor communicated. Luo Feng turned to look. Morning Chaos Emperor was flying over with a large group of other emperors. Morning Chaos Emperor's eyes had a sense of glee in them. He had been stifled by Luo Feng earlier. However, his words were at the right time. One's position determined the order. The stronger one was naturally they would leave first. Humph. Luo Feng turned and continued flying towards the exit with the Heavy Arrow Emperor. Blade River Emperor. Morning Chaos Emperor's expression froze, after which he raged and roared. Looking for death. Luo Feng turned fiercely. Hua. Heavy Arrow Emperor, however, moved immediately, fiercely turning and pouncing towards Morning Chaos Emperor. The distance between the 2 wasn't too far, one flying forward, the other pouncing backwards. They instantly clashed. At this time, Heavy Arrow Emperor was wielding a scimitar in each hand. The edge of the scimitar had a purple glow. Poochie! Poochie! 2 beams of moonlight flashed, slicing through Morning Chaos Emperor's body. His body was sliced into 3 pieces. His eyes were filled with a sense of schadenfreude. Without burning my undying body, even an Emperor Pinnacle can't kill me. The moment you attack, it's a provocation. When the other 2 emperors from the Automaton race attack, it'll be your death. Following closely, Morning Chaos Emperor's eyes were filled with fear and unwillingness. The 2 scimitars were coated with Famol poison, immediately corroding his body and destroying it completely. Morning Chaos Emperor fell. Bug Clan side, Automaton side. The 2 large groups of alien undyings watched dumbfounded as Morning Chaos Emperor's body completely disintegrated. They couldn't imagine how an Emperor Pinnacle like Morning Chaos Emperor died, just like that. Heavy Arrow Emperor wielded his scimitars and looked coldly at the armor and weapons left behind by Morning Chaos Emperor, saying coldly, "Those who insult my master die." P.S. Chapter 1. Chapter 889. Chaos Emperor Chun fell, just like that. The machinery race's side couldn't help but be shocked. They immediately guessed that this extremely famous Knife River King definitely had some special methods to purchase some special weapons in the universe. After all, although the Heavy Arrow King was a peak king-ranked formidable martial artist, he wouldn't be able to instantly kill a peak stage king-ranked formidable martial artist. The 2 curved blades that the Heavy Arrow King had used were definitely special. They could be terrifying weapons made of special materials. How extravagant. This Blade River Emperor's background definitely isn't simple. He wasn't famous before, but I heard he acquired the altar's treasure trove and immediately changed. It's probably because the altar's treasure trove is shocking, allowing him to buy those terrifying and extravagant weapons. The other warriors from the Automaton side, including the distant Bug Clan warriors, all swiftly made their guesses. The Automaton side and Bug Clan side immediately viewed the Blade River Emperor with more importance. No one dared to casually bully Luo Feng anymore. Even so, the automaton side was a group of Emperor-level undyings, with 2 automaton race members there. Being bullied like this, how could they take it lying down? Having one of their comrades killed, if they didn't make a sound, it would be too embarrassing. Blade River Emperor. What's the meaning of this? Of the 2 machine race beings that were being escorted, the one who wore black armor and had slightly green skin shouted. So, Heavy Arrow Emperor had already flown back to Luo Feng's side, seemingly very respectful. However, no one could forget his viciousness. Automaton Undyings, Luo Feng said coldly. I have never provoked your automaton or Bug Clan side. However, that little bastard Chaos Emperor Chun dares to humiliate me. Humph. He really thinks just because he has a group of allies, I won't dare to attack, and he can humiliate me as he pleases? He actually forgot. The pride of a warrior is not to be provoked or humiliated. Unless he has enough strength. It's a pity that my Heavy Arrow Emperor has proven one thing. This Chaos Emperor obviously doesn't have that strength. Since he humiliates me, he has to be prepared for my attack. Luo Feng gazed at the automaton's side. I believe your automaton race's many Emperor-level undyings have seen everything and understood the reason. If you all want to stand up for this stupid Chaos Emperor Chun, I'll accept the challenge. My heart, towards those who have no enmity with me, I don't want to fight. The most important thing is to conserve my strength for the upcoming ceiling stars. Wasting my strength now will only make me regret it later. He let other experts take advantage of him. Many experts from the machine race could not help but look at the bug race in front of them. Now the strength of the 3 parties. Luo Feng was the weakest, the automaton race was slightly stronger, and the bug race was the strongest. If the automaton race were to clash with Luo Feng, it wasn't impossible for them to be wiped out by the bug race. The appearance of the ceiling star is the most important. I hope you can survive this massacre. The leader of the mechanical race shouted. I hope you guys feel the same. Luo Feng smiled. After that, the 2 of them stopped talking nonsense. The insect race was also secretly disappointed, but this was also within their expectations. In the universe, super experts whose strength was not too far apart rarely fought to the death. Who would fight if they were not confident? Who would do it if there were no benefits? The moment Morning Chaos Emperor died, the automaton race would have to put on a show and Luo Feng would give them a way out. Everyone knew this very well. As for settling scores after this, was that even possible? For the sake of a fallen, chaotic King Chun, who would be idiotic enough to fight to the death with the Blade River King, who could enslave peak-conferred kings. On the surface, it seemed dignified, but in reality, it was all about profit. Everything under the heavens is about profit. Everything under the heavens is about profit. Luo Feng muttered within, my Chinese ancestors have long seen through everything. Everything is about profit. The bug race, automaton race. Luo Feng brought the Heavy Arrow Emperor. The 3 entered the next forbidden area. The moment they entered, they discovered that there were 2 groups of foreign undyings in the forbidden area. They were in a stalemate. One was the human camp, the other was the bug race. Sky Formation Emperor. Luo Feng immediately saw the long brown hair draped over the back of the human camp. He was a 3-eyed man dressed in a black armor. That was Sky Formation Emperor, an Emperor Pinnacle warrior. However, as he specialized in illusions and soul attacks, his threat level wasn't any lower than an Emperor Pinnacle. This kind of expert in illusions and soul attacks, as long as he ignited his undying energy slightly to unleash his soul attacks, he could even threaten an Emperor Pinnacle. Yang. Sky Formation Emperor's eyes gleamed. Yang Martial Emperor. Luo Feng brought the Heavy Arrow Emperor and flew over, interacting with the human camp's foreign undyings. The only true human among this group of human undyings was Sky Formation Emperor. The rest were all foreign. Yang. Blade River Emperor. Blade River Emperor. The many warriors of the human camp, especially when they saw the obedient Heavy Arrow Emperor beside Luo Feng, they were all shocked within. Back when the Heavy Arrow Emperor was killed and fell into a deep slumber, Everyone guessed that he would be enslaved. However, for the slumbering, heavy arrow emperor to fully recover his strength in such a short period of time, the price was extremely high. It made the human emperors look up to him in despair. They couldn't help but get even more passionate towards Luo Feng. Those who were close to him called him Yang. Those who weren't close to him also called him Blade River Emperor. Naturally, this human camp's warriors treated Luo Feng and Sky Formation Emperor as the core. And on the other side, the two bug race groups had gathered. One could only hear voices saying, Skeleton Needle Emperor, Skeleton Needle Emperor, where's Lord Nanshu? Skeleton Needle Emperor. From the voices, one could tell, after gathering, without a doubt, the leader of the bug race was still the undying Mother Emperor Nanshu. Skeleton Needle Emperor? Sky Formation Emperor frowned. Skeleton Needle Emperor has the strongest defense under Nanshu. If he's there, Nanshu will definitely be there too. I didn't expect to meet him so early. Even if I don't meet him now, I'll meet him later. Luo Feng smiled. Do you have confidence in dealing with Nanshu? Sky Formation Emperor looked at Luo Feng. No, Luo Feng said confidently. What about you? There's no hope at all. Sky Formation Emperor shook his head very confidently. Any bug race queen is a master in the soul aspect. Even an emperor like Skeleton Needle Emperor was enslaved. In terms of the soul aspect, she's even stronger than me. What hope do I have? Luo Feng nodded. Right? The bug race Queen Undying was very terrifying. She herself was a master in the soul aspect, and she had an undying bug army under her. The more warriors there are, the smaller the threat of the pinnacle. Sky Formation Emperor communicated. Right now, the bug race Queen Nanshu is very powerful. Just one of her is enough to intimidate the rest of us. However, as the number of warriors increases, the threat will be much smaller. Especially when the ceiling star appears, the number of alien emperors that gather will be terrifying. The numbers will be huge, and almost all of them are emperors, as long as a portion of the warriors attack together. Even a universe knight won't be able to take it. They'll have to hide, not daring to take it head-on. Luo Feng nodded. Once the numbers reach a certain level, it would be terrifying. As time passed, he went from one forbidden area to another. Every time they arrived at a forbidden space, they would meet up with other experts, causing the number of alien race undyings to increase. This scene also made all the experts certain that the ceiling star would definitely appear. Only when the ceiling star appeared would the inner workings of the star pagoda allow countless experts to continuously gather. Skeleton Needle Emperor. It's Skeleton Needle Emperor. Skeleton Needle Emperor is here. The bug race Queen Nanshu is definitely here too. That old monster is here to steal the ceiling star. Our chances are even lower. Even though the number of warriors increased, be it the human camp, demon camp, automaton camp, the main topic of discussion was Skeleton Needle Emperor and Nanshu. Nanshu, without a doubt, was the strongest amongst the large group of Emperor Undyings. Luo Feng and the human camp Undyings stood in the air above the grass plain. Meeting Skeleton Needle Emperor, killing Chaotic Dawn, was just today. I've only passed through the 9 forbidden spaces. I didn't expect over 2,600 Undyings from all over the universe to gather. Luo Feng looked into the distance. The automaton camp had about 600 warriors. The bug race had about 800. The demon race had about 500. The human race had about 600. Over 2,600 alien Undyings. Even though Luo Feng could recognize only a few from the probability, over 90% of them were Emperor level. We haven't even reached our destination, and there are already so many alien Undyings gathered. When we reach the ceiling star, just how many Undyings will there be? Luo Feng exclaimed. Humanity had gone through so many years. The fallen emperors had revived. Even so, there were only about 100,000 Emperor-level Undyings. However, in the entire universe, the trillions of races added together, the number of Emperor-level Undyings was ridiculous. Just the gathering of the Star Pagoda's hundreds of thousands of Emperor-level Undyings was already more than the human race. Obviously, a single race couldn't compare to the trillions of races. Even if the trillions of races gathered 1/1000 or 1/10, 0.000 of their forces. However, the reason why the pinnacle races were strong was because of their pinnacle strength. 1. A crack suddenly appeared in the distant space, and a large group of warriors swarmed in. It's the entrance. Luo Feng glanced. There are even more undyings. They seem to be split into two camps. One is the bug race, the other is the human race. No, it's 3 camps. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. The powerhouses that had gathered were indeed divided into 3 camps. The insectoids had more than 100 powerhouses, the humans had more than 30 powerhouses, and the demons only had 1. Xian Tomb Emperor. Xian Tomb Emperor. It's Xian Tomb Emperor. Luo Feng and the other 2,600 warriors from the various regions of the universe. All of their gazes landed on the lone warrior, carrying a huge blood-red blade on his back from the demon race. His entire body was covered in a layer of blood-red scales. With a horned wolf head, his face had a green and blood mark, and he had 9 scale tails stepping in space. His gaze seemed to cause the space around him to tremble. Even though there were over 2,000 Alien Emperor-level undyings present, they were completely silent, their auras suppressed by this one warrior. Even the insectoid faction, which had the insectoid queen mother, Undying Nan Shui, was suppressed in that instant. Xian Tomb Emperor, it's him. Luo Feng squinted. Chapter 890. There were quite a few terrifying existences in the 7th battlefield of the foreign battleground. They were all the best in their respective camps. Luo Feng was clear that even if he used all his trump cards, he wouldn't be a match for any of them. When the difference in strength was too great, other methods wouldn't work. If the Bug Clan Undying Nan Shui was one, then Xian Mu Emperor was another. Nan Shui, with his Undying Bug Clan army, dominated the entire battlefield. He relied more on his army. Xian Mu Emperor, however, relied on his Blood Tomb blade to kill countless, creating a name for himself. He relied on his individual battle strength. In terms of fame, Xian Mu Emperor was even stronger. As for battle strength, it was hard to say who was stronger or weaker. For example, in a narrow space, the Bug Clan Undying Army's strength would be affected. Xian Mu Emperor could easily destroy the entire army. If there was a distance between them, the Bug Clan Undying Army could easily unleash their combined attacks. That would be terrifying. Xian Mu Emperor, arrogant and aloof, offending countless warriors. He came from the Qi Wang race. As he offended too many warriors, he fled from the domain lord level to the alien battlefield and began his long killing spree. He grew from domain lord level all the way to almost invincible emperor level. The Qi Wang race had long treated him as the future pillar of their race. They've dealt with all his enemies back then and given him many resources to support his growth. A piece of information appeared in Luo Feng's mind. Powerful, to grow from the domain lord level to such a level. If his other aspects were a little more perfect, he would be able to match up to my teacher, True Yin Emperor. Luo Feng thought. Nan Shui and Xian Mu Emperor were both close to invincible emperor level. It seemed like the difference wasn't huge. However, the further one went, the harder it got. To be more perfect and improve was simply too difficult. People like True Yin who could reach invincible emperor level at the undying level were pitifully few in the trillions of races in the universe. Their numbers were few and far between, even less than the number of knights in the universe. As time passed, the warriors continued to gathering in the many forbidden areas and heading towards the next one. The time spent in each forbidden area ranged from half an hour to half a day. After 2 days, Luo Feng's group had a shocking amount of warriors. Just our group alone has over 16,000 warriors. Heaven Formation Emperor beside Luo Feng exclaimed, "We haven't even reached the final gathering area. At the final gathering area, the numbers will be even more terrifying." Yes, Luo Feng's gaze swept past one of the strong warriors from the human camp. It was a man with a total of 7 different blades on his back. His entire body was covered in an ancient purple armor. His hands were covered in a special black glove. On his forehead were 7 blade marks. The energy he emitted was so strong, Even the distant Xianmu Emperor from the demon camp was affected and exploded with a bloody energy. 7 Blade Emperors. Luo Feng sighed within. The 7 Sword Kings were human powerhouses. The human faction's warriors had already accumulated to over 5,000 undyings. Over 90% of them were emperor level. Just the absolute limit of emperors alone numbered in the tens, and there were even tens of pinnacle emperors that specialized in soul attacks. The natural faction's core wasn't Luo Feng or Sky Formation Emperor, but the 7 Blade Emperor. 7th Blade Emperor. According to what teachers said, the 7th Blade Emperor has hope of catching up to him in Sky Feather Emperor. Luo Feng thought. The 7th Blade Emperor walked the path of a spirit reader. When he was young, he stood out in the Battle Axe Coliseum and was absorbed as a core genius. He used his number 1 genius status back then to raise his strength. Maybe in terms of talent and improvement speed, he couldn't catch up to Kudi or Luo Feng. When Luo Feng's Golden Horn Beast and Masha clansmen reached Sector Lord level, his Earth body was still at Domain Lord level. That's why his improvement speed seemed shocking, but in reality, it wasn't as exaggerated as it looked. However, the 7th Blade Emperor was still much stronger than Bolin's talent. After becoming an undying, the 7th Blade Emperor was taken in as a disciple by one of the Universe Lords in the Battle Axe Coliseum, after which he rose even more, training for short few tens of thousands of years. He was already close to Invincible Emperor. Compared to Truyan Emperor and Sky Feather Emperor, he wasn't much weaker. The upper echelon of the human race had high hopes for the 7th Blade Emperor, confirming that he had high hopes of becoming a Universe Knight. The human race's full effort in nurturing him, the Universe Lord's guidance, the 7th Blade Emperor's own special encounters, it created the current 7 Sword Kings. This is the direct disciple of a Universe Lord. Which master of the universe? I don't know. I heard he's from a human Battle Axe Coliseum. The humans are really strong. Our race doesn't even have a Universe Lord. Their internal human race is split into 5 great powers, and every one of them has a Universe Lord level being. The human race was discussing amongst themselves, not mentioning the 7th Blade Emperor's own strength. Just his identity as the direct disciple of a Universe Lord was enough to make the human race the leader. Because such an existence definitely wouldn't fall. What a joke! A Universe Lord's direct disciple. If you're to fall, that would be even more terrifying than the birth of Sealing Star. Luo Feng, if your identity is revealed, you'll be even more dazzling than the 7th Blade Emperor. Babata communicated mentally. You've been taken in as a direct disciple by the Primal Chaos City leader, and he's the number 1 person in power in the Virtual Universe Company. He's also in charge of the human sacred land Primal Chaos City. He's much stronger, and you were taken in as a direct disciple when you were a Sector Lord. What's the use of being dazzling? Quickly shut up. Luo Feng communicated mentally. How fierce! Babata ignored Luo Feng unhappily. 7th Blade Emperor? Luo Feng glanced. It was very difficult for him to defeat the 7th Blade Emperor at the Sector Lord level. However, if he became an undying, then defeating the 7th Blade Emperor would be much easier. It's a pity I'm only a Sector Lord. Not acquiring the 3rd body is the best choice. After nurturing it, I definitely can't break through. My training time is short and my origin law comprehension isn't high. I'm not in a rush to break through. Luo Feng had spent a lot of effort on this 3rd body. Just from the Great Alliance and the treasure trove, he had searched through many special life forms, hair and blood, etc. However, what he could buy, there were many that were stronger than the Golden Horn Beast. However, they didn't reach Luo Feng's expectations. After all, the universe still had some very powerful special life forms, some even only one in the universe, like the Beast God. Of course, Luo Feng only needed a Sector Lord level life form. Asterisk, 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 the human camp, and the other 4 camps had a total of over 16,000 undyings. They came from different parts of the universe and looked different. There were blood and flesh life forms, energy life forms, metal life forms, plant life forms, The plant life form was also a huge category. Even though there were cloud contact vines and star-eating grass, which had very weak consciousness, there were also some plant life forms that were no less intelligent than humans. Some looked similar to humans, only their internal structure was different. Rumble, the mountain range rumbled, revealing a huge and immeasurably deep cave. Faint streams of starlight could be seen circulating within. Exit. It's the exit. Immediately, the four camps went into an uproar. According to the distance, the 16,000 undyings of the four camps all entered the huge cave. The human camp was third and entered together. After entering, they felt the space warp and landed on a huge stone peak. In the boundless void, stone peaks floated one after another. Every stone peak was very close to each other, and the stone peaks were like countless pebbles moving closer to each other, forming a broad road in the void. Luo Feng had experience long ago. He knew that this was a space pathway. Through it, he would reach the next forbidden area. How? Luo Feng landed on a rock on the majestic stone peak. Looking into the distance, he took a deep breath. So many warriors? The space pathway is just a pathway between the forbidden areas. Just passing by, the number of warriors will be very few. However, here, there should be over 100,000 undyings. The densely packed stone peaks floated in the endless space. On every stone peak and in midair, there were large numbers of undyings from different races. The numbers were simply shocking. Just at this moment, there were already over 100,000. The humans in the Great Alliance only have 100,000 emperors. Sky Formation Emperor stood beside Luo Feng and laughed softly. And the quality of the 100,000 emperors in the Great Alliance shouldn't be that high. Luo Feng said, "Of course it's not that high." Sky Formation Emperor exclaimed. Along the way, there are more and more warriors gathering from the forbidden areas, especially the weaker ones. Seeing so many strong warriors, some of them want to retreat, afraid of losing their lives. Along the way, they purposely separate from us and don't return. It was very easy to give up on the ceiling stars, like leaving with a large group. As long as they didn't follow, they could wait for the next pathway to appear before leaving alone. Naturally, they would fall behind. Also, there are many extremely confident warriors. Even if they were originally in the 7th battlefield or other dangerous areas, the moment they hear about the appearance of the ceiling star, they would rush over. The absolute warriors in the Star Pagoda are the same. Using the God Country teleportation, they will try their best to get closer to the anomaly. Sky Array King exclaimed, "That's why amongst these 100,000 undyings, there are many absolute experts. Look, the Automaton Life Destruction King, my race's 7 Sword Kings, and that Pagoda Dragon King. Which one of them isn't famous? Right now, they're all gathered here. With so many warriors gathered in the space pathway, I guess this space pathway is where the ceiling star will appear." Luo Feng nodded. Normally, one could only see the ceiling star in the space pathway. Hence, there was a high chance that it would appear in the space pathway. Ceiling star. Look, ceiling star. It's appearing. The ceiling star has appeared. The originally bustling crowd of over 100,000 undyings from all over the universe suddenly went into an uproar. Almost all the warriors looked below. Sky Formation Emperor and Luo Feng too. Below, in the depths of the endless space, a whirlpool appeared. Within the whirlpool, a star slowly rolled and floated up. P.S. Chapter 1 has arrived. The full moon, mid-autumn, has arrived. The traditional reunion festival is here. Tomato also wishes all brothers and sisters a happy and joyful reunion festival. Tomato can only draw a big mooncake, very, very big, and give it to everyone. At the same time, the monthly votes and recommendation votes were very important. Chapter 891. Rumble. Only then did the rumbling from the whirlpool reach Luo Feng's ears. Within the whirlpool, the star's ascension speed became slower and slower, almost as though it was being obstructed. So many stars. There have to be thousands of them. Exclamations of shock. Around the whirlpool in the distance, one could vaguely see many slowly moving ceiling stars. Every one of them had a diameter of 9,000 to 90,000 kilometers. With a glance, there were thousands of stars moving at the same constant speed. They were all revolving around the whirlpool. Within the whirlpool was the already floating ceiling star. It was the most eye-catching one. This scene made the 100,000 undyings from different races a little excited. Many of the foreign race undyings can't wait. Luo Feng's gaze swept. Yang. Beside, Sky Formation Emperor communicated, "Do you want the star? Don't tell me you don't." Luo Feng looked at Sky Formation Emperor beside him and smiled. "If I don't want it, who would come here to take the risk? However, our chances of getting the star are too low. There are over 100,000 foreign race undyings here, of which Nan Shui, Xin Tomb Emperor, Pagoda Dragon Emperor, etc. are 9 terrifying beings. They are strong. However, there are over 100,000 undyings from different races here. Their individual strength has already been weakened. Who would dare go against so many undyings? Even a universe knight, if he were to be attacked by over 100,000 emperors, he would fall." Sky Formation Emperor said, "I've already contacted the other pinnacle emperors. We're preparing to gather about 1,000 of our allies to form a temporary alliance. We'll advance and retreat together and fight for the treasures." 1,000 allies forming an alliance? Luo Feng was shocked. Sky Formation Emperor said, "I've already applied for a temporary meeting hall in the virtual universe system, allowing us to enter directly. A temporary meeting hall in the foreign battlefields or universe secret regions. The undyings would often use it in emergency situations. The moment the application was successful, all the invited undyings would have the right to enter the hall and make emergency decisions. Of course, this was not a small expense. However, to the emperors, it wasn't much. I'll send out the mail now and remind them we have to act quickly. Only then will we have a chance." Sky Formation Emperor said, "Everyone, I'm the Sky Array King. I've sent an email to you. Please go to the temporary conference hall immediately after reading it." Sky Formation Emperor transmitted, causing the thousands of human undyings to exchange glances, following which their consciousness connected to the virtual universe and began to check the mail. Virtual universe, one of the planes. Within this space, there were many islands. In the skies, there were also floating islands. On each island, there was a beautiful meeting hall. This was the temporary conference hall. As long as one applied for it, they could use it for a certain period of time. Inside the conference hall, there was a huge round table. Beside the round table, there were many stone thrones. There was a total of 1,000 thrones. Shio, 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 shio. Silhouettes appeared on the thrones. The number of warriors grew. Luo Feng and Sky Formation Emperor 2 appeared on the thrones. Within 10 seconds, the 1,000 thrones were filled with the human undyings, almost all of them emperor level. "Everyone," Sky Formation Emperor said, "according to the rules of the past ceiling stars, from the moment they appear to appear, they'll need to slowly break through the Star Pagoda's barrier. It'll take some time. We still have plenty of time. However, the battle for the ceiling stars has attracted many warriors from the various races of the universe. Even Xianmu Emperor and Pagoda Dragon Emperor have appeared. If we don't work together, we have no hope at all. Right, we're not here to watch Pagoda Dragon Emperor and the others fight for the treasures." Seated in the distance, a god covered in heavy armor said solemnly, "There are many warriors. The moment the star appears, it'll be a chaotic battle. There are too many teams, and it'll be hard to control. 1,000 undyings is just right." Sky Formation Emperor continued, "Our bodies may not be as strong as Xianmu Emperor and the others. However, among these 1,000 undyings, almost all of them are emperor level. There's a total of 11 extreme emperors, and 8 of them are at the pinnacle of the soul aspect." Luo Feng sighed within as he heard. The probability was really high. Normal emperor level undyings didn't even reach the limit of 1 emperor out of 100. The main thing was that many of the weaker ones had retreated this time. The stronger the ones, the higher the probability. and over 1,000 Emperor level undyings. If we work together, even Pagoda Dragon Emperor and Xianmu Emperor wouldn't dare to fight us head-on. Sky Formation Emperor said, with 1,000 of us working together, we have the right to fight. Who will the Sealing Star go to? In the distant throne, a foreign race, Undyings immediately shouted. Very simple. We'll work together at the start. Sky Formation Emperor smiled. As for who gets the Sealing Star, it'll depend on luck. Whoever gets it, our alliance will automatically dissolve. At least we're all comrades and allies. We can't kill each other. As for the one who gets the Sealing Star, it'll depend on his ability to escape. At this time, we're still hoping for the other warriors to continue helping. Even if I say it, no one would believe me. Ha, hee hee. Over 1,000 gods laughed strangely, resounding within the temporary meeting hall. As for the setup, there's no need. We'll work together and support each other. I believe no one who can become an emperor is stupid. Sky Formation Emperor said, we only have one goal. When the Sealing Star appears, we'll try our best to get close to it. As for who gets it, it'll depend on luck and skill. My suggestion, does everyone agree? Sky Formation Emperor looked around. If there's any disagreement, you can speak up. The entire meeting hall was silent. No one spoke. Those that could reach Emperor level weren't pushovers. This alliance was formed naturally under the pressure of Pagoda Dragon Emperor and Nan Shui. After all, over 100,000 Emperor level Undyings didn't come here just to play around. They all had ambitions. Very good. Sky Formation Emperor smiled. Our alliance is formed. In the distance, a human expert smiled. It was a peak Emperor level human Song Chi King. Usually, human experts would naturally be the core of such alliances. Let's work together. As for whether or not we can keep the Sealing Star or escape, it'll depend on our own skills. All right, hee-hee, fight. All sorts of sounds could be heard. Some of the emperors even shouted in their own race language. Obviously, they were all excited. All of them were filled with desire. Actually, there was still hope of escaping after obtaining the Sealing Star. For example, if Luo Feng and the others obtained it and immediately rushed into their own camp, the others from the same camp might be unhappy, but they wouldn't dare harm them. Also, the other camps wouldn't be able to work together to attack. The moment they did, it would definitely affect the other human camp's warriors, and they would naturally be blocked by the human camp's warriors. In the chaos, with one's own camp as a shield, there was a chance of survival. Of course, the chances of dying were even higher. However, for the Sealing Star, all the Emperor-level Undyings dared to take the risk. Luo Feng stood in midair and looked around. He could clearly see the floating mountain peaks in space. The foreign race Undyings naturally began to gather and move, obviously secretly forming an alliance. Many of the warriors here weren't as strong as Pagoda Dragon Emperor, Xiantum Emperor, and Seven-Blade Emperor. None of them were willing to be a supporting character. Even Luo Feng. Even though he was cautious and wary of everything within the Star Tower, he still thought of the chance to take away one of the Sealing Stars. Young, Silk Rain Emperor. Sky Formation Emperor communicated, the 9 of us are all humans. Naturally, we have to be more united. Luo Feng nodded. Of course. In the distance, a short man with snow-white hair and a white beard said, Sky Formation Emperor, Luo Feng, and Silk Rain Emperor were the strongest of the 9. After them were the pinnacle and upper-level emperors. There weren't any beginner-level emperors or officials amongst the 9. It's a pity that Seven-Blade Emperor won't help us. Song Chi Emperor sighed. If he were to join us, we'd become cannon fodder. Sky Formation Emperor shouted. What level of strength does the Seven-Blade Emperor have? And his position is extremely high. Haven't you noticed that he's already bribed a few warriors to follow him? He's the Universe Lord's disciple. His wealth is definitely extremely high. Bribing a few warriors. These warriors know that the chances of getting the Sealing Star are very low. Now that they're able to benefit from it and befriend the Seven-Blade Emperor, I'm afraid many will be willing. If it were me, I'd be willing too. Song Chi Emperor muttered. You punk. Sky Formation Emperor didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Stop fooling around. Look below. Silk Rain Emperor shouted. Luo Feng and the other 9 humans all looked below. Below them, within the whirlpool, the ceiling star was doing its best to float upwards. However, a formless resistance was trying its best to stop it. As it floated upwards, Luo Feng and the others could see with their naked eyes the ripples, enveloping countless of the ceiling stars. Whether it was the ceiling star that was about to come out, or the thousands of other slowly moving stars, they were all suppressed by the formless ripples. That's the power of the Star Tower. It's sealing countless stars. We have no way of getting close. Sky Formation Emperor said softly. If we try to force our way through, we'll definitely die. Hence, none of the warriors here dare to force their way through. They're all waiting for the ceiling star to automatically come out. Everyone be careful. Once the ceiling star breaks through the barrier, even though it's broken, there won't be any ripples to suppress the countless stars within a short period of time. We can still enter the thousands of ceiling stars below, but don't ever go. If we don't voluntarily come out, even the Universe Lord won't be able to forcefully take the ceiling star away. If we're greedy, there'll only be one outcome: death. Time passed minute by minute. The force of the ceiling star's rise grew stronger and stronger. Wong. The energy that enveloped the entire space below caused ripples that were clearly seen by all the warriors. Just like a soap bubble being pushed up by a needle, no matter how tough the soap bubble was, as long as the needle continued to push, it would eventually burst. As time passed, the densely packed undyings from all the different races of the universe gazed down below, all storing up their energy and waiting, all silently anticipating. Pong! Following a low rumble that shook the entire space. Shio! That ceiling star that had been trying its best to rush up immediately shot up into the sky, becoming a dazzling rainbow light that shot straight up into the sky. The ceiling star had come out. P.S. Update complete, brothers and sisters of the Red Alliance. The ceiling star was like a bunch of fireworks shooting up into the sky, transforming into 4 big words. Happy Mid-Autumn. Chapter 892. The over 100,000 undyings that had gathered from all over the universe. The moment the ceiling star rushed into the sky, it was like a stone being thrown into a calm lake. The silence was immediately broken. The vast amount of foreign race undyings moved out. All sorts of long-range attacks were unleashed at the same time. Rumble, the originally calm space, was like a fragile piece of paper immediately shattering. Countless space shards flew about like ice shards in water. The countless space shards made it much harder for the undyings to fly. Space lock. Space lock. The moment the ceiling star appeared, a large group of peak-stage king-ranked formidable martial artists activated the spatial seal. They did not want to see other formidable martial artists teleport to the ceiling star and obtain it. Quick charge. Charge. The space has already been locked. Teleportation is useless. We have to combine. Hurry. Sky Formation Emperor and the others ordered anxiously. Luo Feng, who was about to let Heavy Arrow Emperor bring him to teleport, saw the space instantly shatter into countless shards, and with the space's self-recovery ability, the recovery speed was far from being able to keep up with the rate of destruction, and with the large amounts of warriors forcefully locking the space, he could only order, Heavy Arrow Emperor, give up on teleportation. Let's fly over. Yes, Master. Remember, your god energy has to surround me at all times to prevent any warriors from using soul attacks. Luo Feng's consciousness ordered. His greatest weakness was his soul defense. Even though he had the Beast God Roar, 32 times Soul Amplifier, combined with his Emperor-level Origin Law Comprehension, along with his terrifyingly strong willpower, and the Golden Horn Beast's innate powerful consciousness. All these combined, this made Luo Feng's soul defense comparable to a high-level official, plus the silver armor and killing Wu wings weakening him. Even a high-level Emperor proficient in soul attacks would find it hard to kill Luo Feng. However, it was enough to cause him trouble. And an Emperor Pinnacle proficient in soul attacks was able to pose a terrifying threat to Luo Feng. Of course, the prerequisite was that he didn't burn his undying energy. If he did, even a low-level emperor would be able to destroy Luo Feng's earth body in terms of soul. Luckily, there were very few warriors proficient in soul attacks. Luo Feng hadn't suffered before. However, there were over 100,000 undyings from different races. There were simply too many of them. Although the main body of an earthling was just a clone and could be reborn even if it was destroyed, it would be very bad in such a dangerous environment if the soul of the clone was suddenly destroyed. Yes, master. The heavy arrow emperor followed Luo Feng, whistling towards the distant ceiling star. At the same time, the other undyings did the same. Block it! Block it! Heaven array! King hurriedly transmitted his voice. Luo Feng and the group of over 1,000 undyings all released their undying energy attacks, working together to form an energy barrier and shield, blocking the terrifying attacks. Boom! 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 A chaotic battle. Over 95% of the 100,000 alien race undyings from the four great camps were emperor level. They had long-formed alliances of 500, 1,000, or 2,000. Right now, they were all scattered attacks and occasionally combined attacks, even though it wasn't as precise as the bug army. But the power was enough to make people's hearts tremble. There was only one way to defend against such an attack. Similarly, hundreds and thousands of experts worked together to defend. They've gone mad. Luo Feng completely held his breath. The defense he was so proud of couldn't even withstand the combined attacks. Block it! Be careful! Charge, charge, charge! Including the Heaven Array King. The other experts at the peak of the king level or the peak of the king level who were good at soul attacks were shouting anxiously. Not good. Luo Feng was naturally safe within the camp. Looking at the distant ceiling star, there was already a large number of warriors surrounding it. The explosions and explosions, they were the most intense and terrifying. This made Luo Feng's expression change. Before, we were within the entire human camp, with tens of thousands of human undyings gathered together. Even though they were divided into small alliances, they wouldn't kill each other. The attacks from afar would occasionally land on our heads. That's why we have to defend carefully. Overall, it wasn't too dangerous. However, the closer we get to the ceiling star, it'll be a complete chaotic battle. Luo Feng had a feeling that the alliance would soon have its first undying fall. Charge! Luo Feng and his group of over 1,000 undyings gathered and flew towards the ceiling star. At the same time, there were tens of other groups rushing towards it. And the groups that were lagging behind gritted their teeth and unleashed their combined attacks, only caring about the ceiling star. Rumble. Where the ceiling star was, the rumbling continued. The space around it had completely transformed into particles. Even though the groups were getting closer, no one dared to rush in, because the combined attacks of the various teams seemed to have landed on the ceiling star. This had already reached the level of a universe-destroying night. However, the ceiling star was indeed a treasure that even a universe knight valued greatly. Even after suffering such attacks, it was not damaged at all. As more and more teams charged to the front, the number of teams behind decreased, and the attacks naturally became weaker. And the groups that were closest to the ceiling star, with just their numbers, they could easily defend against the attacks from the back. Saying it was slow. In fact, 12 seconds after the ceiling star was born, the ceiling star was no longer being attacked. The ceiling star was also being bombarded until it flew down diagonally due to inertia. Snatch the treasure! Snatch the treasure! The undyings of the different races all madly rushed towards the ceiling star. In an instant, over 10,000 of them reached the surface of the star. This was, after all, a star that was comparable to a planet. Even with over 100,000 undyings on it, it wouldn't feel cramped. These undyings all used their fastest speed to send their undying energy into the star, attempting to imprint their soul imprints. To control a treasure, one had to completely imprint their soul imprints. This required a relatively short amount of time. However, over 10,000 undyings, the fastest and slowest were probably not even 0. 1 second apart in such a short amount of time, with so many soul imprints, naturally they all failed. The imprint had to be a single imprint. It couldn't be disturbed. After all, the treasure could only have one owner. Luo Feng's group was the second batch to land on the sealing star. At this time, there were already over 30,000 undyings. How can we subdue it like this? Luo Feng caressed the star. The imprint failed, shaking his head. There were more and more undyings on the planet. 40,000, 50,000, 60,000. Rumble. In the distance, a terrifying combined attack descended. The thousands of undyings on the sealing star that faced the threat of this attack all activated their defenses at the same time, easily blocking this attack. However, because of the impact, it caused the sealing star to fly downwards even faster. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Wave after wave of attacks came from afar, but were easily blocked by the foreign race undyings on the star. It's them. Luo Feng looked over. There were still about 30,000 undyings floating in mid-air, split into many groups, of which the Tower Dragon Emperor, Shin Tomb Emperor, Seven Blade Emperor, and the other 9 terrifying beings, all led their own groups in the distance. They didn't even rush over. The strong and the weak. The way to snatch the treasure is different, Luo Feng thought. Sky Formation Emperor and the other undyings are weak. They can only try their best to reach the star as quickly as possible. And Tower Dragon Emperor and the other absolute beings, even if some lucky undyings obtain the star, they have the confidence to kill them and snatch the treasure. Quickly flee. Quickly flee. Their voices resounded from all over. Many undyings were frantically transmitting their voices in all directions, all of them frantically trying to escape the sealing star. Rumble, the star swiftly descended, and even though the formless barrier below had been pierced and torn apart earlier, this formless barrier was still the energy of the star pagoda. Even though it was broken, the ripples after breaking became even more berserk. Some of the undyings that fled were attacked by the surrounding enemies. Even if they didn't die, they were still blasted away, coming into contact with the berserk energy of the star pagoda, Qi. Whether it was the beginner emperor level, pinnacle emperor, or even the limit, the moment they fell, they couldn't dodge in time and were hit by the berserk energy. They were all instantly turned to dust. Some of the strong had their weapons destroyed, some of the weaker world rings cracked. The better ones might survive. What terrifying power! Luo Feng was speechless. That formless obstruction was stable in the past, suppressing the countless sealing stars, as well as the terrifying energy contained below. However, the moment it broke, the formless barrier itself became a berserk energy, along with other equally strong attacks. These were all the mysterious energies of the star pagoda, easily annihilating an emperor. Whoever dared to touch it would die without a doubt. Treasure. Qianshi Emperor's world ring. It's mine. Below the void, close to the thousands of sealing stars, the danger was enough to make all the experts shiver. However, those unlucky undyings that fell also left behind large amounts of treasures floating about, causing many experts to rush over and snatch those treasures. Because the treasures that survived the berserk shockwaves would be blasted out, naturally they could be easily taken away. Amidst the chaos, the 9 warriors all led their teams, not panicking at all. Are the stars that easy to get? Dressed in gold armor, his skin glowing black, the automaton race life destruction emperor looked coldly into the distance. They're all too anxious. They haven't even left the 10,000 entrances. Even if they get the stars now, they won't be able to escape. They'll just become targets. Life Destruction Emperor, however, forgot. The other undyings weren't as strong as him. If they didn't act early and foolishly watch from afar, at the last moment, they wouldn't even have the qualifications to interfere. They wouldn't have any hope at all. Getting the stars is this time's second goal. The 7 Sword Emperors are the first. Life Destruction Emperor looked at the distant 7 Sword Emperors. The automaton race had detailed information on the human 7 Sword Emperors. These 7 Sword Emperors were the third-ranked geniuses the automaton race wanted to assassinate. Number 1 was the Sector Lord Luo Feng, with talent comparable to Kudi. He was taken in as a direct disciple by the terrifying human primal chaos city leader. According to the information, this Luo Feng should be in the outer region battlefield now, and many Undyings had died by his hands. However, he had vanished without a trace, probably because he knew of the danger and hid. The second was the human dream Sui Emperor. The third was the Seven Sword Emperors. P.S. Chapter 1 here. Chapter 893. Humanity was one of the 4 peak races. To be able to rank in the top 3 assassin geniuses of the machine race meant that their talent, character, and fortuitous encounters were all extraordinary existences. For instance, the Seven Sword Kings. The machine race had already determined that the Seven Sword Kings had a complete set of treasures as well as several other treasures like the Void Grasp, and it was speculated that the Seven Sword Kings had obtained some terrifying inheritance from the universe. The inheritance that the human Seven Sword Kings obtained likely originates from the number 1 power in the universe, the Ancestor God Church. Moreover, it is one of the super inheritances of the Ancestor God Church. The Life Destruction King quietly said, if he is allowed to continue developing, the chances of him becoming another terrifying existence amongst the human race are extremely high. Kill him. If he perishes once, even if his teacher reverses time and space to revive him, the price of reviving a near-invincible king-level powerhouse with a terrifying inheritance is no less than reviving a universe lord. Moreover, his Seven Sword Kings, the Void Grasp, and several other miscellaneous treasures will also fall into my hands. The Life Destruction King looked at the distant team led by the Seven Sword Kings. The Seven Sword Kings carried their 7 swords on their backs. They floated in the air, looking at the ceiling star in the distance. They didn't seem anxious or impatient. Prepare. The Life Destruction King quietly ordered. The machine race was a race with an extremely strict hierarchy. It was similar to a pyramid of perfect rulers. The habits of intelligent life made them incomparably united. The one with the highest status here was the Life Destruction King. The other machine race powerhouses absolutely obeyed his orders. As for the other alien race super powerhouses that belonged to the machine race, they were also attracted by the virtual world army system as well as the massive rewards. They would also do their best. Target the 7 Sword Kings. 6th plan. Activate the Decomposition Tower. Attack. As the insect Queen Immortal Nanshui, the Pagoda Dragon King, the 7 Sword Kings, the Life Destruction King, and the others were all silently watching from afar. The ceiling star was bombarded into the danger zone. Once it touched the danger zone, king-level powerhouses began to perish one after another. This caused the other powerhouses to be shocked and angry. Relics. World Ring. Snatch. The dozens of alien immortals that perished immediately caused a scramble for their treasures. Ha! Below is the dangerous area. It is filled with the chaotic sealing power of the star tower itself. Once you touch it, you will definitely die. Normally, it's hard for us to kill other titled Undying, but here, as long as we can force them into that dangerous region, they'll definitely die. Kill. The majority of the Undyings who had just escaped from the ceiling star were instantly thrown into chaos. Back when they had all charged towards the ceiling stars, they had all been in groups. However, as soon as they had landed on the ceiling stars, they had all fallen into chaos. When they encountered danger, they had all flown away from the ceiling stars, and the various groups had fallen into chaos. Perhaps he was surrounded by the outsiders. Pung. Boom. Psychic weapons, soul attacks, energy attacks, mechanical weapons. Amidst the shattered universe space, many unlucky king-ranked experts were blasted into the danger zone and killed instantly. Snatch! Snatch! Haha, I've been waiting for this moment. That ceiling star isn't something I can obtain. However, borrowing the power of this danger zone, I can kill the other faction's emperors one by one. Who knows? I might even be able to obtain tens of billions or even hundreds of billions of mixed elements worth of wealth. The 6-armed human giant excitedly slaughtered. Whether it was the humans, automaton, demon, bug, or the countless other races within their faction, they were all slaughtering and robbing. They've all gone crazy. Each ceiling star only has one master. There won't be many experts who will die for it. Luo Feng gazed at the danger zone below. However, this danger zone allows the undying emperors to be easily killed. This is a rare opportunity. Those emperors are all going crazy. Suddenly, a dark green spinning wave of light instantly floated in the endless skies, instantly causing all of the king-level powerhouses of the 100,000-plus universes to fall into a daze. Even Luo Feng and the Heavy Arrow King were stunned. Luo Feng glanced over. In the distance, the Life-Destruction King of the machine race was leading a team of over 100 automatons. Each of them held a 3-meter-tall, tower-shaped technological weapon in their hands. As for the Life-Destruction King himself, he was in a massive 20-meter-tall tower. There were also close to 900 emperors of the other races who were simultaneously burning their immortal bodies. Every 8 or 9 emperors were assisting one automaton powerhouse, burning their immortal bodies to produce a terrifying amount of energy, pouring it into the tower. Those 100 towers simultaneously formed a terrifying energy transmission network that gathered within the tower controlled by the Life-Destruction Emperor. Following that, it was a jade-green rotating light wave that traversed the sky and shot directly towards the team led by the Seven Sword Kings. Decomposition Tower. The Seven Sword Emperor's calm expression suddenly changed. His eyes were filled with shock and anger. The automaton race is really willing to sacrifice so much for me. Burn. The defensive plan I mentioned before. The Seven Sword Emperor angrily shouted. As one of the 9 super powerhouses present, before the Seven Sword Emperor took command of this team, he had already laid out a defensive and offensive plan. None of the emperors under him hesitated. The automaton race's first target was the Seven Sword Emperor. If they didn't act, the Seven Sword Emperor would die without a doubt. But the shockwaves of energy would be enough to kill them all. Thus, this group of human powerhouses all simultaneously burned their immortal bodies. The strange thing was that they directly burned their immortal bodies and scattered the energy into the air. Ho! The Seven Sword Emperor suddenly opened his mouth. A golden pool flew out from his mouth. This golden pool was covered with mottled ancient beast carvings. Among them were carvings of beast gods. These carvings covered the entire edge of the pool. Within the pool, it was completely dry. The moment it flew out, it began to wildly swallow the energy emitted by the surrounding human powerhouses. Rumble, the energy surged. After the ancient gold pond devoured the energy, its power suddenly increased dramatically. It immediately spread out a formless golden barrier that surrounded the thousands of experts from the human camp. Bang! The rotating dark green light wave shot out by the decomposition tower bombarded the golden barrier. It caused the illusions of ancient and powerful strange beasts to appear on the golden barrier. It really is the ancestral god church. In the distant automaton race side, the Life-Destruction King gritted his teeth. My guess was right. This was the first time the Seven Sword Emperor revealed the ancient golden pool. Luo Feng was stunned. The decomposition tower was one of the automaton race's top-level weapons. Its price wasn't any lower than a treasure. However, he did not expect that his fellow clan member, the Seven Sword Kings, would take out the ancient gold pool. Just the aura of the strange beasts emitted when the gold pool erupted made all the experts present know that it was definitely a terrifying treasure. One had to know that the automaton race's Life-Destruction King side had planned for this to happen, unleashing their strongest attack. As for the human Seven Sword King's side, they reacted hurriedly. The amount of undying power that the humans managed to burn was far from the opponents. However, even if the energy supply was smaller and the golden pond formed a barrier, the disintegration beam failed to break through the surface. Obviously, the golden pool was much stronger than the decomposition tower. Powerful, terrifying. Many of the other races were shocked. They didn't have any confidence in obtaining the ceiling star. Kill. Kill. The 4 factions were in chaos. Close to 100,000 foreign race undyings mixed together and madly slaughtered each other. Anyone who touched the danger zone because of the slaughter died one by one. Wong, 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 Wong. The entire shattered space began to tremble. Exits began to appear in the distance. Thousands of exits had appeared out of thin air. 10,000 exits. 10,000 exits have appeared. As long as one looked at the history of the Sealing Star's birth, they would know that once the killing got too intense, the thousands of exits would automatically appear. Following any one of the exits would allow one to swiftly reach the forbidden space. Every one of the exits represented a different forbidden space. As long as one entered, it would be equivalent to escaping. Escape. Let's hurry and leave. The few weaker ones were completely frightened by the frenzy of fighting. They all flew towards the nearest exit and left. Quickly kill. Kill them. If they escape, they won't have the chance. Like some of the Pinnacle and Pinnacle Emperors, they were risking their lives. They wanted to make use of the danger zones to kill more foreign race undyings and steal their treasures. To them, they had never had the chance to kill an Emperor undyings so easily. Even though Luo Feng was here, he wasn't as passionate about the Sealing Star as the other warriors. He wasn't that passionate about killing large numbers of foreign race undyings. He was more concerned about the entire Star Tower. That summoning power far surpasses the general armor and the black metal board. However, it's unable to recognize its owner. The moment it arrived, it caused a huge commotion and even caused the Sealing Star to appear. Luo Feng thought quietly. He didn't think that the Sealing Star's appearance was a coincidence. He had just arrived, and it just so happened to appear. And the Star Tower's summoning was so strong. Was there such a coincidence in the universe? Maybe there was, but the chances were too low. Luo Feng had always believed that there were some peculiar circumstances within. Compared to the summoning of the Star Tower, just the Sealing Star's appearance wasn't something Luo Feng cared about. Hence, from the start, Luo Feng went with the flow and mixed in with the team. When the team rushed, he too rushed. After rushing up the Sealing Star, he didn't run around randomly. Instead, he stayed close to Sky Formation Emperor, Sangqi Emperor, and the other human warriors. And after the Sealing Star fell into the danger zone, he too followed the vast army and escaped. Anyway, Luo Feng went with the flow and mixed in with the army. He observed everything and carefully observed the appearance of the Sealing Star this time. Compared to the previous ones in history, there were no differences. However, from the looks of it, there weren't any special changes. If my conjecture is correct, during the appearance of a Sealing Star, there should be some special circumstances. Luo Feng had been waiting for that moment. Chapter 894. Luo Feng blended in with the vast army, moving with the other three humans, Sky Formation Emperor, Sangqi Emperor, and Chiwu Emperor. Even though Luo Feng didn't intentionally kill the undyings of the other camps, Chiwu Emperor was an Emperor-level expert, and Sky Formation Emperor was an Emperor Pinnacle that specialized in soul attacks. The two of them would often work together. Plus, it was simply too chaotic. The other warriors killed some Emperor-level undyings items. Luo Feng's team would occasionally get their hands on them. In a short half a minute, I've gotten over 10 billion mixed elements worth of wealth. Luo Feng was shocked. No wonder the other undyings all went crazy. There were deaths. There were profits. Madness beyond compare. At this time in the vast space, there were tens of thousands of exits. However, within the terrifying shockwaves of the battle, there would occasionally be exits that crumbled. However, new exits would form. Everyone be careful. Sky Formation Emperor communicated anxiously. I've been hit by a soul attack. What? Sky Formation Emperor, you've been hit by a soul attack? Chiwu Emperor, Sangqi Emperor, and Luo Feng were all shocked. Over 10 warriors from the demon camp are rushing over. Among them is Demon Mang Emperor. He's also an Emperor Pinnacle that specializes in soul attacks. I've fought with him many times, but I don't have the confidence to deal with him. Sky Formation Emperor communicated. They're already here. Luo Feng, Chiwu Emperor, and Sangqi Emperor could already see that in the distance, a team of 12 warriors from the demon camp were rushing towards Luo Feng's team. Sky Formation Emperor. The ugly animal-like, four-legged immortal life form in the fiend race camp transmitted his voice to them. Drive Martial King, a two-headed arrow dragon that was more than 10 kilometers long, also roared. Blade River Emperor. This demon elite team obviously had their eyes on Luo Feng's team. On Luo Feng's side, Drive Martial Emperor and Heavy Arrow Emperor were both at the pinnacle of the Emperor level. Luo Feng's name as Blade River Emperor had long spread. He could totally treat Blade River Emperor as an extreme emperor. Sky Formation Emperor, too, could be treated as an extreme emperor. Only Cangqi Emperor was slightly less famous. Anyway, Luo Feng's team had about 4 pinnacle emperors. This was also the reason why Luo Feng's team was able to stay safe and secure and obtain so many benefits. In the demon team, since they dared to come, they naturally had confidence. Out of the 12 experts, 6 of them were at the peak of the king ranked. Moreover, the Mountain Brilliance King and the Sky Array King had fought many times in the Star Tower and could not do anything to each other. Although it might not be able to kill the Sky Array King, it would not be a problem for it to hold him back. Let's retreat, the Martial King ordered. Oh, along with the demon camp's dual-headed arrow dragon roaring, forcefully controlling the time flow of Luo Feng's team. Time stood still. Break! Luo Feng and the others all had their souls roaring. They all exerted their strength, and immediately time returned to normal. Aha! Heaven Array Monarch, you're dead this time. King Chimeng laughed maniacally, his laughter ear-piercing. Kill them. This is a rare opportunity. The Demon Clan's elite team was extremely crazy. The wealth obtained from killing experts was a lot, especially that Saber River King, who had obtained the treasure of the Altar Tower, which allowed the sleeping Heavy Arrow King to recover in a short period of time. His wealth had long been famous. In the chaotic battle of the 100,000 alien Undyings, Luo Feng's team's battle was very inconspicuous. On Luo Feng's side, there were a total of 5 warriors. 4 of them could be considered to be at the pinnacle of the Emperor level. On the Demon Clan's side, there were a total of 12 warriors. 6 of them could be considered to be at the pinnacle of the Emperor level. However, when the other 6 joined forces, they could fight against 1 pinnacle. Luo Feng's side was indeed at a disadvantage. The battle had descended into madness the moment it began. I can only block Mountain Brilliance Emperor. Sky Array Emperor communicated anxiously. I can only temporarily defend against 2 pinnacle emperors joining forces. The Martial King was anxious too. Saber River Emperor, can you hold on? Leave it to me. Luo Feng gritted his teeth. He had no choice. Even though he had the strongest fire god crystal, once it exploded, it wouldn't differentiate friend from foe. What's more, the enemy had 6 pinnacle emperors. If they joined forces and defended, they could definitely withstand one of the strongest fire god crystal. Unless he blew 3 of them, there was still some hope. However, the price he had to pay would be the end of his side. Kill those pinnacle emperors first. Luo Feng ordered Heavy Arrow Emperor. Hua! Luo Feng flapped his wings and brought Heavy Arrow Emperor along, moving as fast as lightning, causing the Demon Clan to have no way of catching up to him. We can't catch up. This Saber River Emperor is too fast. First deal with Sky Array Emperor and Martial King. After that, we'll join forces and deal with this Saber River Emperor. The Demon Clan swiftly made their decision and ignored Luo Feng. However, even if they didn't care, Luo Feng wouldn't let them go. Luo Feng brought the Heavy Arrow Emperor and headed straight for the other Emperor pinnacle within the demon camp. Puchi! Puchi! The Heavy Arrow Emperor wielded 2 scimitars, 2 beams of light slashing past, and an Emperor pinnacle fell. Luo Feng himself was fighting with the pinnacle emperors. Killing Wu Yu's wings tore through their defenses, followed by the poison blade. 1 slash could weaken about 50% of the god's body, causing the enemy's strength to drop. Another slash and they would almost fall. In the blink of an eye, Heavy Arrow Emperor took care of 3 pinnacle emperors. Luo Feng took care of 1. At the same time, the 4 peak sealed emperors roared and fell, King Song-chi, on Luo Feng's side, also screamed as he was blasted into the danger zone below and turned into nothingness. King Song-chi had fallen. Pum. At the same time, King Jiwoo was besieged by three peak king-ranked experts from the Demon Clan's camp. He managed to avoid the danger zone with great difficulty and luckily escaped. This also made him feel a chill in his heart. He hurriedly said, "Yang, Heaven Array King, let's hurry up and escape." "I can't escape." Sky Array Emperor was anxious too. He was facing the combined attacks of Chi Mang Emperor and another Pinnacle Emperor. It was very dangerous too. Luo Feng was anxious too. At this moment, their side was in such danger. Even Song-chi Emperor had fallen. Heavy Arrow, go help Martial King. Your defense is strong. You can definitely take on 2 or 3 Pinnacle Emperors. The Pinnacle Emperor that killed Song-chi Emperor was flying towards Martial King, causing Martial King to be surrounded and attacked by 4 Pinnacle Emperors. "Yes, Master. I'll go help Sky Array Emperor." Luo Feng flapped his wings and flew towards Sky Array Emperor. According to Luo Feng's calculations, Heavy Arrow Emperor could take on 2 or 3 opponents. If he and Martial King worked together, even if they were surrounded by 4 Pinnacle Emperors, they would still be able to defend. However, Sky Array Emperor was in danger. He and Chi Mang Emperor were equal in strength. However, he was currently being surrounded by Chi Mang Emperor and another Pinnacle Emperor. The only reason Sky Array Emperor could still hold on was because he was burning his undying body to fight. Chi Mang Emperor and his helper too were burning their undying energy. Obviously, they were fighting madly. Chi, a huge blurry hammer image, smashed fiercely into Sky Array Emperor, causing him to spit out fresh blood and fall fiercely. And below him was the danger zone. Sky Array Emperor. Luo Feng flapped his wings and drew an arc, immediately going to support Sky Array Emperor from below. Pum! Under the burning of his undying energy, Sky Array Emperor felt the impact was terrifying. With Luo Feng supporting him, Sky Array Emperor's speed slowed down. However, Luo Feng fell. Yang. Sky Array Emperor looked anxiously at Luo Feng. Wang. A formless soul hypnosis attack was unleashed from Chi Mang Emperor, who was diving down, directly hitting Luo Feng. Suffering from the soul hypnosis attack, in an instant, Luo Feng lost control of his body, immediately falling downwards. This made the distant Heavy Arrow Emperor, who was helping Martial King, change his expression. His eyes filled with panic and fear. "Master!" Yang. Sky Array Emperor's expression was filled with pain and anxiety, rushing down to chase Luo Feng. Even though he seemed to be in extreme pain, Sky Array Emperor's eyes were filled with excitement and coldness. "Ha ha! This time I'm really going to reach the heavens in one step. I'm going to be rich." Back then, when my soul controlled Chi Mang Emperor, I had a flash of inspiration and allowed him to remain in the demon camp. That was indeed a wise decision. Sky Array Emperor was extremely excited within. Sky Array Emperor was a master in the soul aspect. As he grew up, he had experienced many obstacles. Growing up with many obstacles, it made him have a special outlook on life. He passionately made friends with people like Luo Feng and a large group of good friends. As long as they became friends with Sky Formation Emperor, they would all think that he was a very good warrior to be friends with. However, in the dark, his madness was never known to others. He had indeed clashed with Chi Mang Emperor several times. However, in the third clash, he used his hypnosis techniques to finally control his opponent, turning Chi Mang Emperor into his own soul slave. Like soul control, it couldn't be seen on the surface, especially since the demon camp's communication system was extremely simple and crude. There weren't any human or automaton army detection systems. They had to leave behind evidence to claim their military merits. Thus, they could only communicate with each other through simple communication. This resulted in Chi Mang Emperor being controlled by him. That simple communication system couldn't even detect the changes in Chi Mang Emperor's soul. Hence, Chi Mang Emperor continued to stay within the demon camp. Occasionally, he He would let Qi Mang Emperor bring his demon friends to work together. Then, he would coincidentally meet them and work together to deal with them. He had done this 3 times. There was even one time when he and King Qi Mang worked together to control a Peak King conferred king, the Mist Sea King. And this time, with the appearance of the Sealing Star, he immediately realized it was a good opportunity. When he met Luo Feng, he was overjoyed. "Ha Yang, Blade River Emperor? That's a big fish. I heard he acquired the treasures of the altar and even allowed Heavy Arrow Emperor to recover so quickly. His wealth is probably much more than normal emperor levels." Therefore, under his secret orders, King Chimang and King Mist immediately invited the other powerhouses from the monster race's camp to join forces and launch a joint attack. Qi Mang Emperor and Mist Sea Emperor were both under his control. And when Qi Mang Emperor and the other emperor level Qi Mang Emperor surrounded Sky Formation Emperor, Sky Formation Emperor and Qi Mang Emperor both ignited their undying energy and pretended to fight with their lives. However, they were actually attacking the Demon Camp's Emperor level Qi Mang Emperor at the same time. The two masters in the soul aspect, igniting their undying energy, their first goal was to control that Qi Mang Emperor. If they failed, they would kill him. However, in the end, they succeeded. Even the heavens are helping me. Controlling an Emperor-level Qi Mang Emperor is so difficult. Even if I ignite my undying energy, even if Qi Mang Emperor and I are both experts in the soul aspect, even if we work together, the chances are very low. I actually succeeded again. Haha. Sky Formation Emperor was extremely excited. Hence, in this chaotic battle, Sky Formation Emperor actually already had 3 Emperor-level Qi Mang Emperor helping him. Whether it was the other 3 Emperor-level Qi Mang Emperor, Luo Feng, Qi Wu Emperor, or Heavy Arrow Emperor, none of them knew. "You're all my targets. Your treasures and riches are all mine." Sky Formation Emperor was excited within. To become an absolute warrior in the universe, maybe with special encounters or a powerful teacher. Without any special fortuitous encounters or powerful teachers, he had to create his own fortuitous encounters. Heaven Array King accidentally controlled King Chimang, but he still allowed King Chimang to mingle in the demon camp. The demon race's communication system was simple and crude. All of these led to the implementation of all of this, giving Heaven Array King a chance to rise. He pretended to be blown away and waited for Luo Feng to save him. As he was attacked by Qi Mang Emperor while saving him, Luo Feng swiftly descended. Yang, Sky Formation Emperor rushed downwards, his expression filled with pain and anxiety. However, he thought within, his riches are mine. No one can even think of stealing it. He was afraid that Luo Feng would fall into the danger zone and be destroyed, while the riches and treasures would be taken away by the other warriors. Hence, he rushed downwards at top speed. Yang, Sky Formation Emperor painfully rushed downwards. Master, in the distance, Heavy Arrow Emperor couldn't care less about Qi Wu Emperor. He immediately rushed over. Qi Wu Emperor didn't dare to block for Emperor-level Qi Mang Emperor at once. He too retreated with Heavy Arrow Emperor, flying towards Luo Feng. However, no matter how fast he flew, how could he catch up? As he watched, Luo Feng was about to fall into the danger zone. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed fiercely. He actually woke up. Back when Luo Feng participated in the genius battles, his mental state training was already at the first level limit. He had long reached the level of understanding his heart and mind. However, he had never entered the second level. Instead, he had always walked the extreme path, madly walking the extreme path. Primal Chaos City, the thousands of years of training in the foreign battlefield, he still walked the extreme path, madly training. It made his faith more and more resolute. His willpower became more and more terrifying. Even the ancestors of China on Earth didn't have thousands of years to train their heart. His heart had long been trained to the point of being like a diamond. It was crystal clear, able to see through everything without a single speck of dust. The diamond's hardness and sharpness could pierce through anything. This was Luo Feng's heart. If he suffered a soul attack, Luo Feng might have had some trouble. He would have had to use the golden horn beast. But hypnotism? Luo Feng used his willpower to break it. Sky Formation Emperor. Luo Feng looked at him, his eyes filled with madness. It's you. The moment he woke up, Luo Feng knew. Sky Formation Emperor was behind this. Firstly, Sky Formation Emperor was a soul master. Knowing that Luo Feng was here to save him, how could he allow the enemy soul master, Demon Mang Emperor, to attack Luo Feng? To make such a mistake? Secondly, when Luo Feng went to support Sky Formation Emperor, in theory, Sky Formation Emperor should have been intensely defending against the attack. However, in reality, not only did Sky Formation Emperor not defend, he even took the initiative to give Luo Feng another attack. While Luo Feng was receiving this attack, he was also receiving a soul hypnotism attack. The attack, the soul hypnotism, complemented perfectly. Everything had been prepared perfectly, laying such a trap for Luo Feng. A trap that was almost certain death. Not good. Sky Formation Emperor saw Luo Feng wake up and was shocked. Of course, he guessed that Luo Feng knew the secret. However, his eyes gleamed coldly. It's too late. The danger zone is too close. The impact of his fall is too strong. I can't slow down a dodge. It's too late. Luo Feng realized this too. The impact of his fall was too strong. Even with his wings, he couldn't dodge the vast danger zone in such a short distance. With a flip of his hand, he took out the strongest fire god origin crystal and prepared to explode it. Since I can't escape myself, I'll let the fire god origin crystal explode. Using the recoil from the explosion, I'll naturally be able to survive. Luo Feng's reaction was indeed brutal and direct. The moment I explode, at such a close distance, that Sky Formation Emperor who ambushed me will be finished. Not good. Sky Formation Emperor's expression changed. He wants to die together. However, the moment Luo Feng took out the strongest fire god origin crystal, a majestic and irresistible mysterious energy wrapped around Luo Feng. A low voice resounded in Luo Feng's ears. Mind and consciousness. Child, come. Hua. Over 100,000 foreign race undyings were fighting in space. Even Pagoda, Dragon Emperor, Life Destruction Emperor, Seven Blade Emperor, etc. were fighting. Simultaneously, the tens of thousands of exits were collapsing and forming new exits. Suddenly, an exit was formed below Luo Feng. The distance was so close that Luo Feng couldn't dodge in time. In truth, under that majestic, mysterious energy, Luo Feng couldn't dodge at all. Xiao. Luo Feng held the fire god origin crystal and rushed through the exit just like that, leaving this part of space. P.S. 2 chapters completed. Change of plans. Change of plans. The important moment had arrived, requesting monthly votes to celebrate this moment. Asterisk. Chapter 895. Seeing Luo Feng take out the strongest fire god origin crystal, Sky Formation Emperor, who was filled with shock, anger, regret, and unwillingness, realized that a space exit had suddenly appeared below Luo Feng, and Luo Feng directly rushed into it due to inertia, leaving this space. I dodge a bullet. Sky Formation Emperor felt a sense of fear. My luck is not bad. Before, when I teamed up with Demon Mang Emperor to control an Emperor-level warrior, that was already luck. Now that Yang woke up at the last moment and took out the strongest fire god crystal, just as I was about to die, who would have thought that the collapsing and reappearing space exit would suddenly have an exit below him, allowing me to survive? Luck. Sky Formation Emperor rejoiced within, after which he thought, don't tell me my luck has improved from now on. Even though he failed to ambush Luo Feng and revealed his true colors, Sky Formation Emperor wasn't worried or regretful. After all, compared to preserving his life, what was one more enemy knife, River Emperor? I have 2 peak-level Regis slaves and King Chiming, whose strength is close to mine. Furthermore, I can use my combat strength to obtain even more benefits in this chaotic battle in the void. A huge amount of wealth can allow my strength to increase explosively. With such power, do I still have to be afraid of a knife, River Emperor? Since the ambush failed, there are still 3 Emperor-level warriors left on the demon side. I still have Chiwu Emperor and Heavy Arrow Emperor to deal with. Sky Formation Emperor immediately made his decision. I'll let the demon side work together to destroy Chiwu Emperor and Heavy Arrow Emperor. Then I'll make my move and finish off the other 3 Emperor-level warriors that I can't control. Killing them all at once. That was Sky Formation Emperor's most ideal outcome. However, even if he killed another 2 or 3 Emperor-level warriors, the rewards would still be shocking. If he could control 1 more with his soul, he would be extremely lucky today. Master. Heavy Arrow Emperor, however, rushed down. Wong. The space exit that Luo Feng escaped from collapsed. Master. Heavy Arrow Emperor was anxious within. However, he wasn't as frantic as before. At least his master Luo Feng wasn't in danger. Luo Feng was enveloped by the majestic, mysterious energy. He had no strength to resist as he entered the space exit, his mind still resounding. Child, come. After entering the exit, he didn't reach another forbidden space, instead flying into a rainbow-colored pathway. Hua Hua, a beautiful passage. Luo Feng was being swept along as he flew. The space around him warped. He could vaguely see the huge ceiling stars outside the beautiful pathway, pillars that connected to the heavens. Outside the warped space, there were many treasures with huge energies. Only Luo Feng couldn't see them clearly with his naked eye. Heavy Arrow, Heavy Arrow. Luo Feng, who was being carried, contacted the Heavy Arrow Emperor. Soul slaves and masters had a soul connection. As long as the distance wasn't too far, they would be able to communicate with each other through their souls. And obviously, within the Star Tower, even at the furthest distance, with Luo Feng and the Heavy Arrow Emperor's soul strength, they would still be able to communicate. Master, are you okay? The Heavy Arrow King communicated. I'm fine. Remember, the Sky Array King is up to no good. He plotted against me just now and almost killed me. I suspect that the Chimang King and the Sky Array King have already secretly joined hands. In any case, you should also tell this to the Martial King. All of you should quickly escape and meet up with the other humans. Bear with it for now and leave that part of the void. Leave the Star Tower and wait for my return. Yes, Master. Luo Feng let out a sigh of relief. It wasn't that Luo Feng didn't want to take revenge. He had waited for Sky Array King to succeed and save him. Who would have thought that he would be used by Sky Array King to plot against him and take his life? No matter who it was, they were all filled with killing intent. Luo Feng naturally wanted to kill them as soon as possible. But no matter, Sky Array King was still a human. Under the shock of the army's scanning system, Luo Feng didn't dare to directly kill the warriors of the same faction. Killing the allies of the same faction was a death sentence. One would be hunted down by the large numbers of races within the human faction. Even his teacher, the Primal Chaos City leader, wouldn't be able to save him. After all, these were the iron rules of the army system set by humanity and countless other races. How could one easily go against it? The army system cannot be defied. However, it's not without loopholes. Luo Feng thought. Like the army surveillance system, it relies on scanning and observing the battle before determining everything. And the so-called scanning relies on the scanning equipment. These scanning equipment naturally has its limits. For example, when I tried to grab Sky Array King earlier, he secretly added an extra force of impact. The equipment has no way to accurately determine the force of impact. Even so, Sky Array King, I've treated you like a brother, yet you plotted against me. If I don't kill you, how can I be at peace? Luo Feng's killing intent grew. The army system has the authority to manage the soldiers. When I choose to retire, I'll no longer be a soldier of the human faction. Even though this will make the human faction soldiers able to kill me without guilt, I'll still be able to kill you. Sky Array King, in Luo Feng's heart, was already labeled as dead. Many thoughts appeared in Luo Feng's mind. Simultaneously, he was enveloped by the majestic energy as he flew through the twisted pathway. Rumble. The mysterious power suddenly dissipated. Luo Feng's entire body flew out of the pathway and fell. He immediately flipped and landed gently like a feather on the ground. This is... Luo Feng surveyed his surroundings. This was a vast and mysterious palace. There were a total of 10,000 kilometers tall pillars that held up the entire palace. In the air above, at the ends of the palace, there were ceiling stars. Countless ceiling stars. It was like a sky full of stars that surrounded the entire palace. This palace seemed to be floating in the center of the countless ceiling stars. That is... Luo Feng looked over. In the distance, a figure was sitting cross-legged. He had a long snake-like body, but his upper body was that of a human. His purple beard drooped down, and his eyelids were slightly drooping. However, an endless pressure emanated from his body. It was a pressure that would cause others to involuntarily submit to him. The pressure was like the endless skies and lands. Even though it wasn't intense, it made one have no will to resist. Child. An ancient voice resounded from his mouth. Come here. It's him. He was the one who brought me here. Luo Feng thought. And what a terrifying pressure, much stronger than the fire-eroding night I've seen before. It even feels similar to teachers' primal chaos city leaders. Is he a universe lord-level being? Luo Feng at least understood one thing. In front of this great existence, he was like an ant without the slightest ability to resist. Since that's the case, he'd better be obedient. Within this majestic palace, surrounded by countless ceiling stars, there were only two people. One was the great being with the snake body and human upper body, and the other was Luo Feng. Luo Feng walked towards the great being. This great being, from his appearance, he should be human, Luo Feng thought. However, aren't the four great races unable to control the Star Pagoda? This human being, how can he bring me here from the Star Pagoda? The being before him, with the snake body and human upper body, was one of the many races of the beastmen, the snake people. Like the ape people, wolf people, snake people, etc., they were all considered large races. They could be divided into many races, however they were all considered humans. Senior. Luo Feng bowed respectfully. Sit. This being that was filled with power and ancient energy pointed at the ground beside him. Yes. Luo Feng immediately sat cross-legged and sat beside him. Are you filled with questions? This great being gazed at Luo Feng. His purple beard drooped down, smiling. Questions. This Star Pagoda has endless summoning for you, yet you can't recognize it as its owner. Questions. You've just arrived. Why would there be such a powerful forbidden area guard and, coincidentally, the birth of a ceiling star? Luo Feng was shocked within. Even the Star Pagoda had endless summoning for him. This great being knew? Yes, I'm filled with questions. I hope Senior can resolve them. Luo Feng said respectfully. I've waited for you. I've waited far too long. The great being exclaimed. Of course, I usually leave a body here, knowing that you've arrived. That's why I personally rushed over. Oh, I haven't introduced myself. I'm called Pu Ti, the guardian of the Star Pagoda, and also your guide. Luo Feng was stunned. Senior isn't the creator of the Star Pagoda. You're wondering, who left behind the manuals you obtained? You're wondering, who is the true creator of the Star Pagoda? Pu Ti gazed down at Luo Feng and smiled. Haha, I was originally the first servant of the Star Pagoda's creator. However, after countless years, I became the universe lord. My teacher showed mercy and allowed me to become his disciple. I'm the first disciple of my teacher. The leader of the flame god race is my teacher's second disciple. My teacher has many servants under him, but only 2 disciples. I'm considered lucky because I've followed him for the longest time. Along with my strength and my teacher's sentiments, I have the right to become his first disciple. And the flame god race and earths are the true core disciples that my teacher has spent countless amounts of time and effort to nurture. Pu Ti looked at Luo Feng. In the history of Earth, there have been 2 candidates who failed. You're the 3rd candidate after 2 billion years. If you succeed, You'll be like the leader of the flame god race, becoming the leader of Earth, becoming my teacher's third disciple. If you fail, you'll be like the previous two candidates, falling. Luo Feng was stunned as he listened. There were two candidates in the history of Earth. He was the third candidate after 2 billion years? Flame god race leader? Earth's leader? The leader of the flame god race. And this Pu-Ti before me. Just who is their teacher? Creating the nameless manual, creating the star pagoda, specially nurturing the flame god race and Earth's two branches. This is the powerful being of the huge Axis creator. Many thoughts flashed through Luo Feng's mind. Chapter 896. The Flame God Race and Earth Race. I'm the third candidate. Luo Feng looked at Pu-Ti. Pu-Ti smiled. Earth is the name you all give to the planet you live in. In the different eras of the previous two candidates, their names were different too. In the first candidate's era, Earth was called the Mountain and Sea World. The second candidate's era was called the Origin Planet. And in your era, you call it Earth. Luo Feng nodded. As for the Flame God Race and Earth Race, back then I followed my teacher and roamed the vast universe. My teacher spent a lot of effort and chose one of the humans on a planet and began to nurture it, nurturing a race with innately strong talents. This race later became the Flame God Race. Pu-Ti smiled. Unlike me and the other servants who were randomly chosen by my teacher, the Flame God Race was nurtured and nurtured by my teacher. Under his strict selection, finally the strongest of the Flame God Race became your teacher's second disciple. This second disciple of mine wasn't willing to be under anyone. He brought his race and left humanity, calling himself the Flame God Race, becoming one of the strongest races in the universe. Pu-Ti smiled. Even though in terms of overall strength, the Flame God Race is far from the human race. However, the Flame God Race has my second disciple. He is the universe lord and has the treasures my teacher made, not fearing the pinnacle of humanity. From then on, he became an overlord of the universe. Luo Feng thought. Then, Senior Pu-Ti, what about you? The Flame God Race was originally a part of humanity. Pu-Ti, from his looks, was human too. Ha ha ha. Pu-Ti sat there, his purple beard drooping. He laughed loudly, his laughter causing the entire palace to shake. He looked down at Luo Feng and laughed. Have you heard of Tipu's name? Tipu. Luo Feng's eyes lit up, recalling the 10,000 soul controlling technique's name in his mind. The Myriad Hearts soul control technique was created by Tip. Pu-Ti, Tipu, don't tell me. Luo Feng looked shocked at the strongest warrior that had followed the foreign race since the beginning. I don't have that kind of ambition, and I don't have a special race like second junior brother. I can lead my race to occupy a territory in the universe and become an overlord. What's more, Master places great importance on the Flame God Race and the Earth Race. He has spent a lot of effort to refine precious treasures. Second junior brother has many supreme treasures that are stronger than mine. I'm alone, so I naturally stayed with the human race. It's just that I don't want to expose all my strength and involve my teacher, so I've been keeping a low profile. I've let one of my clones stay with the human race for a long time, and I've let my clone display peak universe supremacy combat power, which is slightly weaker than the universe lords in the race. I've also assumed the name Tip, said Pu-Ti. Luo Feng sighed. That powerful being of the outsider race now had two disciples. One was to lead the Flame God Race and become an overlord. The other was a clone that remained among the humans. It only displayed the strength of Hiroto and the Palace Master of Heaven Erosion Palace. Even though Master guided us to create the Flame God Race, he wasn't satisfied. Pu-Ti sighed softly. Master once sighed, talent is easy to raise, but soul evolution is much harder. Hence, he spent a lot of effort and thought of ways to finally nurture your Earth race. Pure soul, naturally shocking. For the sake of your lineage on Earth, Master has spent a great deal of effort to specially create a set of secret techniques that defies the natural order, which is the Nine Tribulations secret manual. This set of 9 tribulations secret manual can allow the body genes of the cultivator to continuously improve and reach the genetic level of some of the rare races in the universe. The natural advantage of the soul, along with the 9 calamity manuals, this is the best combination in my teacher's eyes. Pewdie's eyes gleamed. Luo Feng held his breath as he listened. That powerful being of the outsider race was too heaven-defying. To create an even more outstanding Earth race, he actually spent so much effort and made so many preparations, even taking the initiative to create such an unbelievable technique like the 9 calamity manuals. It's just that this manual is restricted by the universe's laws. Pewdie shook her head. Even though he created it, the moment he passes it on to someone from Earth, the universe's laws will automatically erase the contents of the technique. His power is strong. The universe's laws can erase his memories, but they can erase the memories of other cultivators. Luo Feng was shocked as he heard. Erase memories? But how could he train in this heaven-defying technique? Later on, teacher left alone. I don't know where he went. In the end, he brought back a special treasure called the Heavenly Soul Crystal. He recorded that secret technique in the Heavenly Soul Crystal. Pewdie said, "The Heaven Soul Crystal has unbelievable power, as long as one is of the Earth race, and can pass the test of the illusion. One can obtain this technique from the Heaven Soul Crystal." Why doesn't the universe's laws erase it? Luo Feng asked. Without a doubt, the Heaven Soul Crystal was the black metal board. This is the use of the Heaven Soul Crystal. Pewdie said, "My teacher once said that the universe's laws are very fair. There are no absolutes. There's always a chance. To inherit the 9 calamity manuals, you can rely on the Heaven Soul Crystal. The Heaven Soul Crystal's own power can transfer the technique's memories to you, and it won't be erased by the universe's laws, however. There's only one chance." One chance? Luo Feng was shocked. Yes. Pewdie nodded. The Heaven Soul Crystal has the 9 calamity manuals recorded. However, the power it contains can only be inherited once. As long as the cultivator lives, then the Heaven Soul Crystal can't be passed on to a second cultivator. That is, unless the first cultivator dies. Hence, the Earth race, including you, has a total of 3 candidates. When the first candidate dies, the Heaven Soul Crystal recovers its own power. Only then can the second candidate be born. When the second candidate dies, only then can the third candidate be born. Such a manual, even with the Heaven Soul Crystal as a medium, there definitely won't be 2 candidates alive at the same time. Luo Feng sighed as he heard. The universe's laws were indeed very strict. The more special the being, the rarer it was. For a manual like the 9 calamity manuals, it was extremely difficult to create, and the inheritance required the Heaven Soul Crystal as a medium, and there could only be one cultivator. My teacher values the Flame God race, and even more so your race. The leader of the Flame God race is the second disciple. The leader of the Earth race is the future third disciple. Pewdie said, and for the second disciple and the future third disciple, he's prepared treasures. Luo Feng frowned as he heard. He couldn't help but ask, "Senior Pewdie, your teacher, such a great being, why did he create the Flame God race and Earth race?" Reaching teacher's level, roaming the vast universe, he's already invincible. Pewdie's voice was ancient. He said slowly, "You don't have to think too much. Teacher, as one of the strongest warriors in the universe, has long received invitations from many powers to become their leader. However, he's always been too lazy to care." Leader? Luo Feng was curious. The strongest powers in the universe, the Human Alliance, Great Alliance, the Space Beast Alliance, the Bug Clan Alliance, these are all powers that stand at the pinnacle of the universe. Other than that, there's also the 9 Regions Alliance, and some other weaker ones. I'll just tell you about the 9 Regions Alliance. The 9 Regions Alliance is formed by over 100,000 races, of which there are many strong races. In terms of numbers and quality, they far surpass the Human Alliance and Bug Clan Alliance. The 9 Regions Alliance has over 50 million Emperor-level Undyings, over 100,000 Universe Knights, over 10 Universe Lords. In terms of battle strength, They don't lose out to any of the other alliances. Pewdie said, they invited my teacher over to be the leader of a 9-regions alliance. Do you know why? Luophone was shocked by the strength of the 9-regions alliance. The Great Alliance had over 3 million Emperor-level undyings. The Universe Knights numbered in the tens of thousands, Universe Lords. Luophone wasn't sure. Universe Lords are considered pinnacle beings in the vast universe. Why would they accept my teacher as their leader? Willing to let 100,000 races listen to his commands? Even the strongest warrior in the universe wants to kill a Universe Lord. It's an incredibly difficult task. It seems like there's no need to lower their heads. Why would they? Pewdie smiled. It's because my teacher can revive any warrior under the Universe Lord level. Luophone took a deep cold breath. The Primal Chaos City leader once said, reviving an Emperor-level undying, he could easily withstand the backlash. Reviving a Universe Knight would result in heavy injuries. Reviving Tian Shur Palace leader, Hiroto, and the others, the backlash would cause him to fall. And according to what Luophone knew, the Primal Chaos City leader's teacher was extremely strong even amongst the Universe Lords. He was one of the top 3 absolute beings of the human race. You should know, some of the overlords of the Universe Lords have battle strength comparable to the Universe Lords. Pewdie said, being able to revive them, then these overlords can go out to battle, regardless of their lives. Even if they fall, they can revive again. This alliance will naturally be incomparably strong. The pinnacle of power in the universe. The 6 pinnacle races each have a strongest warrior that can do this. Amongst you humans, there's the creator of the huge axe. Pewdie said, and outside of the 6 pinnacle races, there are some heaven-defying special life forms like my teacher. He's a unique being in the universe. There's no other life form like him. Other than the 6 pinnacle races, there are many special life forms. Along with a few heaven-defying beings amongst the trillions of races, they've all produced invincible beings like the creator of the huge axe. My teacher is one of them. Any alliance with the strongest in charge is the truly strong alliance in the universe. The strongest doesn't need to battle. Just his ability to reverse space and revive is enough to make the other enemies tremble in fear. What's more, the strongest have many special abilities. Pewdie looked at Luophone. At teacher's level, competing for the vast universe has no meaning. If he wants to compete, he can easily join an alliance and become the leader. However, to him, that has no meaning at all. Teacher is a lone ranger. Carefree, the 6 pinnacle races have long spent countless amounts of effort to invite him to join. He doesn't care at all. He doesn't even want to participate in those battles. Instead, he has some special pursuits. The Flame God race, the Earth race, is one of them. Of course, if you succeed, you'll become his 3rd disciple. Then your future will be limitless, becoming the Universe Lord. Leading the Earth race isn't impossible. You're willing to stay with the human race, becoming the highest level of humanity. Or you can learn from your 2nd disciple and bring the Earth race away, occupying a part of the universe, becoming an overlord. It's all up to you. Of course, the prerequisite is that you don't fail and fall like the previous 2 candidates. If you fall, then you'll have to wait for the 4th candidate from Earth. Only I don't know how many billions of years that will take. Chapter 897. Within the Palace. Pewdie gazed at Luophone. Child, you are Earth's most elite. You've already passed all the tests in the dark. All that's left is the final path of life and death. If you live, you will become Earth's true leader. You will have the chance to become the true overlord of the vast universe. Even reaching teacher's level is a possibility. Reaching teacher's level? Luophone was shocked within. That powerful being from another race was one of the strongest in the vast universe. Only the creator of the huge axe and the Great Alliance could match up to him. This is what teacher said himself. Of course, it's just a possibility. You have to rely on yourself to cultivate the laws and create your own mystic arts. Just like my 2nd junior, the leader of the Flame God race. Even after training for trillions of years, he's still weaker than teacher. Luophone nodded. Actually, the leader of the Flame God race, to be able to become the leader of a part of the universe, making humans not want to mess with him, was already very strong. The final path of life and death, what is it? Luo Feng asked. Star Tower. Pu Ti said softly. The final path of life and death is for the Star Tower to recognize its owner. Star Tower recognition? Luo Feng's body trembled. Recognizing a treasure as its owner was actually the path of life and death. Teacher's creation of powerful treasures can be said to be unparalleled in the universe. The strongest in the universe all have their own methods. Maybe in other aspects, Teacher can't compare to the creator of the huge axe in the Great Alliance. However, in terms of creating treasures, he's definitely the strongest. Pu Ti sighed. It's just that in the vast universe, endless worlds, there are many secrets and special. Even the strongest in the universe don't dare say they know everything. This Star Tower was created by a stroke of luck in a special and dangerous place back then. Just as he was about to succeed, he accidentally merged with a golden ray of light in the universe. Thus, the current Star Tower was created, and it also caused the Star Tower to be different from what Teacher had originally conceived. Teacher has his own treasures. He doesn't need the Star Tower. It's just that Teacher realized to find a new owner for the Star Tower, to make it recognize him as its owner, is too difficult. Pu Ti said, the Star Tower is already considered one of the strongest treasures in the universe. Comparable to Teacher's own treasures, it's even more demanding. Demanding? Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. Pu Ti looked down at Luo Feng. Yes. The stronger the candidate's soul, the more terrifying the master recognition process. A long time ago, Teacher had once searched the universe for over 10,000 experts, sector lords, undying, and even universe supremacies, to experiment. These chosen 10,000 experts all died. This foreign warrior was indeed vicious. Luo Feng sighed within, randomly grabbing a bunch of warriors to experiment on. Even the universe knights were treated like lab rats by the foreign warriors. After testing, Teacher determined that, Sector Lord, undying, there's still a chance for it to recognize a master. Universe supremacies don't even have the slightest chance. The greatest test of recognizing a master is one's heart and will. That's why Teacher guided and nurtured the Earth lineage, the lineage with the fastest spiritual progress. Pu Ti said, You're the Realm Lord now, so there's still hope for success. In history, the first two candidates of your Earth bloodline, one was a Sector Lord, the other an Undying. Their spirit realms were extremely high, but they both failed and died. I'm a Sector Lord? Luo Feng looked at Pu Ti. This Pu Ti's gaze was too sharp. I can see through your soul with a single glance. You rely on a treasure to hide your life energy. You can hide it from the Universe Knights, but you can't hide it from the Universe Lord. Pu Ti smiled. Luo Feng understood within. Back then, the Primal Chaos City leader could easily see through his background too, and knew he had a clone, etc., and this Pu Ti's strength might be weaker than his teacher. However, he was after all still a great being like the Universe Lord. I know you have a clone. However, the moment the recognition process begins, you'll have no way out. Even if your other Primal Chaos City leader teacher comes, he won't be able to save you. Pu Ti emphasized, even though the Primal Chaos City leader is powerful, especially in the Primal universe, he's invincible. In the actual universe, in the Star Tower, he can only stare blankly. The moment the Star Tower recognition process begins, no one can stop it. The moment it fails, your willpower will completely crumble. Your soul will completely disintegrate. You'll die without a doubt. Pu Ti emphasized, even though your Primal Chaos City leader teacher can reverse time and revive you, he's unable to revive the memories of the 9 Calamities Manual. With the inheritance of the 9 Calamities Manual, you won't be able to revive with the inheritance. The 9 Calamities Manual cannot be allowed to exist in the universe. The moment you die, even if you revive in the future, the 9 Calamities Manual will vanish. Your body's genetic changes will vanish too. Even if you get the General Armor or Emperor Armor, you won't be able to use it. Anyway, you'll lose the right to be the leader of Earth. You'll also lose all the powers of the leader of Earth. Luo Feng took a deep breath. If he lost all these, his strength would drop drastically. Rumble. The great hall that was surrounded by countless ceiling stars suddenly began to tremble. It's begun. Puti turned to look at the center of the palace. The recognition process is about to begin. The Star Tower is the treasure that the leader of Earth should have. Xiao. Rays of light shot out from all over the hall and gathered in the air in the middle of the hall. Countless rays of light gathered and condensed into a transparent crystal bead. This was a transparent crystal bead with faint golden threads. Luo Feng. Puti turned to look. The first candidate lasted 2,600 years before falling. The second candidate lasted 3,300 years before falling. I hope you can survive. Hm. Luo Feng turned to look at the crystal pearl. A twist of fate. This recognition process will be a twist of fate for him. If he failed, even if the primal Chaos City leader revives him, he'll lose everything related to the 9 Calamities manual. When that time comes, he'll only be considered a genius. If he loses this opportunity, his future performance will be much weaker. The primal Chaos City leader's respect for him will drop too. If he can even become a Universe Knight, he'll have to thank the heavens and earth, and a Universe Knight, in the eyes of the foreign races, is just an ant's life. And if he succeeds, becoming the leader of Earth, he'll have the chance to become an overlord in the vast universe, even having the chance to become the strongest warrior in the universe comparable to the foreign races. Success. I have to succeed. Luo Feng roared within. Master, master. Heavy Arrow Emperor's consciousness suddenly contacted Luo Feng. I've just escaped from that space. Even though I warned Shiwu Emperor that there's a problem with Sky Formation Emperor, he still fell under the demon army's attack. Master, where are you? I can sense your location, but I can't go over. Shiwu Emperor. Has he fallen? Luo Feng couldn't help but feel a surge of killing intent. Sky Formation Emperor. I'll definitely kill you. Heavy Arrow. Leave the Star Tower first. Even leave the battlefield outside. Wait quietly. When the time comes, I'll contact you through the virtual universe. Luo Feng ordered. He'd long given Heavy Arrow Emperor an anonymous virtual universe consciousness sensor. Yes, master. Luo Feng, you must persevere. The recognition process is extremely painful. Every day feels like a year. At least the first 2 candidates proved one thing. Lasting 3,300 years isn't enough. Puti looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng nodded seriously. Kill Sky Formation Emperor? He had to get through this crisis first. If he failed this time, he would fall. His servants would fall too. Even if he revived without the general armor, he wouldn't even have the strength to deal with Sky Formation Emperor. I have to get through this crisis. Luo Feng thought. Then let's begin. Puti was extremely serious as he gently pointed at Luo Feng. Immediately, the floating crystal that seemed ordinary, without any pressure or special energy, flew towards Luo Feng. The moment it touched Luo Feng, he didn't even feel it. The crystal had already entered his brain. Chi. The crystal and one of the origin orbs within Luo Feng's body collided. Luo Feng's true core within a world ring trembled violently. Even Amasha clansman and Golden Horn Beast's soul trembled. Just like how the moment one's soul controlled Luo Feng's earth body, it would completely control all of his other bodies. The same logic. The soul was split into 3. The core was the core. The consciousness could easily be transferred between the 3 souls. If it was destroyed, it would be fine. However, the moment one was controlled and became a slave, the others would all be affected. The crystal absorption also affected the core. The moment it failed, even the core would crumble. No feeling. Wasn't it supposed to be painful? Every day felt like a year? Luo Feng sat cross-legged, suspicious within. Rumble. That unbelievable and terrifying pain immediately surged from the depths of the 3 bodies and core, almost as though some monster was trying to drill out of his soul. Puti sat cross-legged in the palace, his purple beard drooping. Looking at Luo Feng, who sat cross-legged with an expression of pain and trembling, he sighed, Earth's leader, it's not that easy to be. I hope you, the 3rd candidate, will succeed. Luo Feng had gone through nirvana once in his life, burning his soul and perishing together with the golden horned beast. Luo Feng managed to survive. From then on, his fate changed. And now, it was his second life nirvana. The only thing left to see was whether Luo Feng could survive this process. Asterisk, 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 deep within the vast, endless energy flows. An old man with a pair of crystal horns on his forehead sat cross-legged on a floating mountain peak. He was more than 90,000 kilometers tall, and his entire body was shrouded in black light. He said in a booming voice, "Lord Mungta, I have no intention of intervening in the battle between you and the humans, but I want those 91 grains of sand. Old punk, my race finally suppressed that human with much difficulty. You want to casually say a few words and take away one of the 3 treasures?" A booming voice like thunder, causing the endless energy flows to tremble, directly exploding beside the 90,000 kilometers tall old man. "If you don't hand it over, I'll help the human." The majestic old man wasn't angry at all. Suddenly, the majestic old man's expression changed slightly, turning to look into the endless space, almost as though through the endless distance he could see within the star tower of the 7th battlefield. "The 3rd candidate has begun." The majestic old man's eyes were filled with anticipation. "I hope that punk succeeds." "Old punk, you're ruthless. Don't give me a chance." In the distance, the great being raged, causing the endless energy flows to produce thunder and lightning, following which the 91 resplendent lights swept through the endless energy flows and flew towards the old man. "Leader Meng Tuo, Primal Chaos City Leader, I won't disturb you any further." The majestic old man laughed loudly, sitting on the floating mountain peak, immediately becoming a beam of light and disappearing into the endless energy flows along with the mountain peak. Chapter 898. Waves of soul-tearing pain made Luo Feng's body tremble. This pain is much weaker than I expected. It's roughly equivalent to the pain of absorbing the 110th crystal. Luo Feng could still maintain his consciousness. In terms of pain tolerance, a few thousand years ago, he was still very weak. When he first entered Blood River World, the first time he absorbed the crystal, he felt unbearable pain. However, as his level rose, his mental state continued to train. As he absorbed more and more crystals, the pain level naturally rose. Back then, Luo Feng had no idea how many times he had collapsed from the pain. Over these thousands of years, as time passed, his endurance grew stronger. Currently, his right claw and back had absorbed 165 crystals. Very easy. His body trembled slightly. Luo Feng revealed a smile. Fortunately, he had always persisted in the first level of the mental state. See one's nature, point straight to the heart. Although the cultivation of the mind was divided into 3 realms, the level of the realm only represented one level. Just like the heart of a newborn that focused on softness and toughness, yin and yang, the highest level of heart, encompassing everything, was even higher, infinitely vast. 3 levels. The first belonged to stubbornly sticking to one's heart. There were no techniques, just one move to forcefully withstand all attacks. Just like a boulder being constantly tempered by a flood. The second level had techniques when it needed to be hard, when it needed to be soft, when it needed to be soft, yin and yang, both hard and soft. Naturally, one's resistance was much stronger. The third level was even higher. However, the reason why the third and second levels were higher than the first was because they were higher than the first level. The main reason was that it was higher in the level, or more like techniques, it had an amplification effect. The same soul willpower, after comprehending yin and yang, heart of the newborn, one's resistance to pressure, illusions, soul attacks, etc., would immediately rise by 10 to 100 times. If one reached the heart encompassing everything, one's resistance to pressure, illusions, soul attacks, etc. would rise by another 100 to 1,000 times. However, there was no shortcut when merging the crystal with the soul. What softness, what tolerance, it was all useless. One could only allow the crystal to merge with the soul. All that was required was one thing, to endure the pain. At this time, all techniques were useless. It all depended on how strong one's heart was and how strong one's ability to withstand the pain. This pain came from the soul, not illusions, not external, yin and yang. The heart can contain everything. This pain came from the heart itself. It wasn't a mental attack, an illusion, or anything like that. Instead, it was a real pain brought about by the fusion of souls. And Luo Feng had always been pushing his limits, constantly training his heart and mind, forcefully withstanding all the pain. His heart had long been tempered to the point of being like a diamond. One of the core parts of the Star Tower, the crystal orb, was slowly merging with Luo Feng's soul. The merging process was extremely slow, but as the merging process increased, so did the pain. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. In the blink of an eye, 60 years had passed. While Luo Feng was enduring the pain, he could still study the beast god statue and study the origin laws. He even excitedly connected to the virtual universe network to meet with his family. On the 61st year of receiving the inheritance, the degree of pain had increased by a large margin. Luo Feng, who was initially optimistic, started to worry. This pain is increasing faster than I expected. At first, I could easily endure it, but after only 60 years, the pain had increased so much. At this rate, I don't even have the confidence to hold on for more than 3,000 years. What should we do? Fall? No. Luo Feng opened his eyes and looked at the Universe Lord Pu Ti, who was seated beside. I have to survive and successfully receive the inheritance, becoming the leader of Earth. Luo Feng thought. While enduring the pain, he swiftly thought of a solution. Training my heart. It's only been a few thousand years since I was born. My mental state has already been trained to such an extent. This life and death inheritance will take at least 3,300 years. During this 3,300 years, my mental state will still rise by a lot. However, this rate of rise is still not enough. I have to find the fastest way. Luo Feng pondered. Many ways to train his mental state appeared in his mind. Actually, enduring this soul-tearing pain was a form of training. It would make a strong warrior's mental state even firmer. Not enough. Just enduring the pain to train my mental state isn't enough. I need a faster way. From birth till now, in the first 100 to 200 years, his mental state had improved rather quickly. The next few thousand years, even though it was a very long time, causing his mental state to improve a lot. However, in terms of improvement speed, it was still slow. My heart is pure. Pure. Sincerity. Only then will I be able to create miracles. This was one of the experiences of the ancient Chinese ancestors on mental state training. It was also something Luo Feng had a lot of faith in his thousands of years of training. Pure. There was no falsehood in the heart. Pure. There were no distracting thoughts. Sincerity. There was only sincerity. This was a miracle, a technique to unleash the power of the spirit. The theory was actually very simple. Just like a researcher who could focus on research without any distracting thoughts, only focusing on research with a heart of sincerity, in this state of complete focus, the power of the spirit would create miracles, allowing the research to become smoother and more efficient, raising the efficiency by 10 to 100 times, completely creating miracles. These 60 years, I've been enduring the pain, but I've always been troubled by it, unable to calm down. Luo Feng thought. From now on, I've begun to focus on studying the beast god path. My heart is as pure as one. No matter how intense the pain is, it won't affect me at all. My heart is pure and true, focusing solely on studying the beast god path. Luo Feng thought. Being prepared for danger in times of peace, preparing for a rainy day. Luo Feng felt the impending danger. Under the formless pressure, the soul-tearing pain, he began to truly study the beast god path. Although it was said to be pure and true, it was easier said than done. If not for the soul-tearing pain, with Luo Feng's mental fortitude, he could easily do this. However, with the intense pain, to not be affected at all, even someone as strong as Luo Feng couldn't do at the start. Often because of the pain, his heart would be in a mess. And that formless pressure, the pressure of falling, would occasionally cause him to be in a mess. However, slowly, Luo Feng forgot about the pressure, abandoning the pain, pushing it aside. No matter how much it raged, Luo Feng's entire heart was immersed in the beast god path. In solitude, the spirit would reveal its power. In a pure and sincere heart, especially under such intense pain, it was still pure and honest. It gave birth to an endless amount of energy, allowing Luo Feng to persevere. Asterisk, 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 virtual universe. Thunder Island's highest point, within the palace, within the endless energy currents. The primal Chaos City leader had been concerned about his matter for the past few hundred years. The moment he relaxed, he summoned Luo Feng, wanting to test his disciple, simultaneously wanting to know his current situation. This Luo Feng actually closed the virtual universe to accept. He even left me an automatic reply, saying he's in closed training. The primal Chaos City leader sat high in his throne, laughing involuntarily. Ever since he accepted the life and death inheritance, Luo Feng had instructed his family before. However, he didn't dare disturb the primal Chaos City leader. He didn't even want to send any random emails to disturb him. Instead, he wrote an automatic message. The moment the primal Chaos City leader sent a message or a call request, this message would automatically be sent to him. Outside the battlefield army system, my disciple Luo Feng, where was the last time he connected to the virtual universe? The primal Chaos City leader sat in his throne, speaking into space, reporting to the primal Chaos City leader. Almost like metal clashing, sounds resounded. The last time Luo Feng connected to the virtual universe was within the Star Pagoda. Star Pagoda? The primal Chaos City leader nodded. A few hundred years ago, the Star Pagoda's sealing star was born. Over 100,000 foreign race undyings. In the end, about 8,000 fell. It was extremely difficult for an emperor to fall, yet so many fell. The news spread, shocking countless races in the vast universe. As for that sealing star, it was said to have landed in the hands of an emperor from the border race of the universe, the Qin race. Luo Feng, after entering the virtual universe, quickly come and see me. The primal Chaos City leader sent an order to Luo Feng. He didn't know his disciple Luo Feng was currently facing a terrifying calamity. Under the soul-tearing pain, Luo Feng's entire focus was on studying the beast god path. His willpower and consciousness actually unknowingly began to rise at a high speed. The effects were extremely good. Even though Luo Feng's willpower and consciousness was rising, at the same time as time passed, the pain was getting stronger and stronger. The extent of the increase was even greater than Luo Feng's spirit. 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, 800 years, 900 years, in the blink of an eye, over 1,000 years had passed. Originally, Luo Feng had a huge advantage against the pain. However, after over 1,000 years of training his spirit, he still couldn't keep up with the speed of the pain, causing the pain to get closer and closer to his limit. According to this rate, Luo Feng would probably barely be able to last past 2,000 years. At that time, the moment it exceeded his limit, his willpower and consciousness would immediately crumble. The crystal would cause his soul to crumble, which meant he would fall. Of course, there was an unexpected gain in these 1,000 years, over 1,000 years of willpower and consciousness condensing. With an unprecedented amount of focus on studying the beast god path, there was another leap. Just the beast god mentality alone was comparable to the 19th level of the heavenly bridge. It was a pity that the improvements in the origin laws were of no help to Luo Feng, who had received the life and death inheritance. Even though he was facing danger, his spirit and consciousness was completely focused. The pure and honest Luo Feng didn't even notice or feel the danger. He was too engrossed. If he wasn't so engrossed, these 1,000 years of training wouldn't have improved so quickly. 1,600 years, 1,700 years, 1,800 years, 1,900 years, the soul-tearing pain was getting more and more terrifying. It had long surpassed the pain of absorbing 165 crystals, and was already nearing the limit of what Luo Feng could endure. However, Luo Feng himself was still researching the beast god path. Unless the pain reached a level that destroyed his current state, he wouldn't feel the danger. His heart was pure and honest. There was nothing else. P.S. 2 chapters completed. Today's chapter was written very slowly, including today's. He owed everyone a total of 3 chapters. Tomorrow was Saturday, tomato to make up for it. Chapter 899. 2,000 years, 2,100 years, 2,200 years. The crystal melded more and more with his soul, and the tearing of his soul grew stronger and stronger. This wasn't the so-called pain, but the true tearing. At the end, if he couldn't withstand it, his entire soul would be torn apart. However, the closer he got to his limit, the purer his heart was, the better the training was, and his improvement speed was faster. 2,300 years, 2,400 years, 2,500 years, 2,600 years. It's been 2,600 years. Within the many sealed stars surrounding the shrine, Puti sat cross-legged, gazing down at Luo Feng, who was drenched in sweat and blood. Under the intense pain, even drops of blood seeped out. Luo Feng's entire body was trembling. However, one could see a sense of determination in his eyes, not shaken by the soul-destroying pain. Of the first 2 candidates, one lasted for 2,600 years, while the other lasted for 3,300 years. The first 2 were both heavenly sons of their generation. They were both incomparably outstanding elites and peerless figures of the Earth lineage. In terms of opportunities, the first candidate was the strongest. His state of mind could be considered to be the heart of a child, but he perished after 2,600 years. The second candidate was the weakest of the 3, even weaker than Luo Feng. He had more hardships, but his heart had reached the state of being able to tolerate everything. Eventually, he too fell. In the history of Earth, there were many with high levels of heart states. Countless at the first level, many at the second, and many at the third level. Puti sighed. His teacher, the great being that had nurtured the Earth race, had once said, "The 3 levels of heart states, there was no difference in level. They actually represented 3 different paths. Understanding one's nature, going straight for one's heart, being firm, and believing in oneself. This was a strong heart, one that recognized oneself as the strongest. No matter what one faced, one had to firmly believe in oneself, never wavering. However, this path was also the hardest. Not relying on external factors, one had to stay true to one's heart. To put it bluntly, it was extremely stubborn. Such a person would easily fall and suffer. And the true ones naturally wouldn't follow the crowd. They all had firm hearts, and even if they were cursed and scolded by billions, they would still persevere. This path was the hardest and most difficult, the combination of yin and yang, the heart of a pure child, a pure heart, the unity of man and nature. Such a person could earn the respect and trust of countless people. It was very difficult to hate such a person. They could see through the hearts of millions of ordinary living beings. In history, they were more often called saints. The heart encompasses everything in the universe. They believed even more strongly in the vastness of the universe, and that they could not surpass everything in the outside world. They were unwilling to just resign themselves to adversity and become one with the world. What they wanted to do was to be tolerant of everything. Such an expert was very ambitious. He had boundless ambition, and his faith was terrifyingly firm. There were 3 paths. The reason why the Earth was considered to be higher and higher was because the Earth lineage had yet to give birth to a true Almighty. Throughout history, there were many people who understood their true nature, those who persisted in their true nature, or rather, those who were extremely stubborn, who experienced great ups and downs after falling down time and time again. They, who had long seen through people's hearts, finally came to the realization that the combination of yin and yang was the Tao. Completely persisting in one's true nature was too extreme. Therefore, There was the oneness of heaven and man and the so-called perfection. At this time, they would not suffer any more hardships, nor would they break their heads. Instead, they would be worshipped by countless people. After walking on the second path for a long time and reaching perfection for a long time, they would have a deeper desire. They were unwilling to accept the oneness of heaven and man. They wanted to be able to tolerate the heavens. This was the third level. In the history of the Earth lineage, those who had reached the third level, whether it was a country or a religion, almost all of them stood at the pinnacle of the world. Because of their extremely strong hearts and hearts that could tolerate everything, they could withstand any setback and improve under any adversity. Maybe their body aptitude was not as good as others, but slow and steady improvement, eternal improvement, would allow them to reach the pinnacle in the end. The three paths in terms of success and recognition. The third path was the strongest, followed by the second, and the first path was the most bumpy. Therefore, generations of sages in the history of the earth had this understanding. It was like looking at the sky from the bottom of a well. If one reached the level of a great being of another race or a universe supreme master, they would sneer. It was just that the path they persisted in was different. What was the point of comparing who was better? To be able to persist for over 2,600 years, his heart is indeed terrifyingly firm. Puti thought, against such soul-tearing pain, one indeed has to have a completely firm heart. Only with an incomparably firm willpower would one be able to last longer. It all depends on just how strong his heart is. There were many people in the history of China with integrity. However, under torture, they all confessed. No matter how loyal they were, it could only be said that they hadn't reached the limit of the pain and the methods weren't vicious enough. If it was like this sort of pain that came from the depths of the soul, over thousands of years, who could withstand it? The normal heroes, just a few thousand years of loneliness was enough to make them go crazy, much less such torture. While Luo Feng was enduring such torture, his willpower was terrifyingly firm. He wasn't affected at all. His heart was pure as he studied the beast god path. In the 2800th year, waves of extreme pain finally disrupted Luo Feng's study of the beast god path. Don't try to disturb me. How? Within the internal world, the golden-horned beast was still immersed in the beast god statue, simultaneously imitating it. Just like the scientists on Earth, even if they were tortured by the pain, they would still endure the cold sweat and continue to study, even though they would still be affected by the pain, interrupting their study. However, Luo Feng, who had been immersed in his study for over 2,000 years, had completely sunk in. Even if there were disturbances, he would suppress them time and time again. Interrupt with the pain, suppress it, and study the beast god path himself. Interrupt the study, suppress. Interrupt the study, suppress. An absolutely sincere heart would produce miraculous strength at the most dangerous times. Every time it was interrupted, he would suppress it time and time again. In truth, every time he suppressed it, his heart would stabilize a little more. Every time it improved a little, this improvement speed was much faster than before. Just like that, Luo Feng actually managed to endure it again. 2,900 years, 3,000 years, 3,100 years, 3,200 years. This kind of oppressive pain would only increase in frequency as the process progressed. Ultimately, the power unleashed by one soul would not be able to match the intense pain that was constantly increasing. As long as the fusion continued, the intense pain of the soul being torn apart would continue to increase and would never stop. It was as if there was a road roller advancing at a steady speed behind him. A person might be able to run, but in the end, they would be tired and unable to run anymore. No matter how strong their will was, they would still be unable to run. There was a limit, and the result was they would be crushed into meat paste. Can't hold on anymore. Puti sat cross-legged and gazed down. His entire body was trembling, his skin was covered in cracks, his face was twitching, sometimes in pain, sometimes in madness, sometimes in stubbornness. His entire body was trembling crazily. "I'm tired. Child, it's fine if you can't hold on. If you fall, even if your teacher doesn't revive you, just based on your willpower, I'll reverse time and space to revive you. You may lose a lot. However, the most basic master recognition of the Star Tower is simply too hard." Back then, when the tower was being forged, it melded with a mysterious colored light. Even teacher didn't have confidence in it. Maybe no matter how exceptional the Earth race is, they still won't be able to recognize it. If the first three all fail, then the fourth, fifth, and so on. Who knows when teacher will change his mind and stop insisting on the Star Tower. Pooty sighed. He was a universe master, one of the pinnacle beings of the vast universe. He could see through Luo Feng's soul. Naturally, he knew that Luo Feng was already at his limit. "Don't disturb me. Don't disturb me." Luo Feng, who was fully focused on studying the beast god path, was interrupted by the terrifying pain time and time again. The frequency of interruptions was simply too high. His willpower howled, "Don't disturb me. No one can disturb me. No one." Rumble. A huge change. If one were to say that Luo Feng's willpower and consciousness was like a crystal before, sparkling and sharp, after 3,200 years of refinement, his willpower and consciousness had become even more condensed and pure, becoming a smaller and denser crystal. However, when it reached a certain point, it was like a star transforming into a neutron star. His willpower and consciousness suddenly soared to an inconceivable degree. The crystal seemed to have been instantly compressed into an atomic nucleus. Continue. Luo Feng had a feeling that when he trained his running and movement to the limit, he would exceed his limits and feel incredibly relaxed. It was the same feeling. The intense pain from before kept interrupting his study. Finally, when he reached his limit, the pain was completely suppressed, and he no longer had any strength to resist. What? Within the shrine, Pooty had been observing everything. He could see through Luo Feng's soul. Naturally, he discovered the change. Why did he suddenly change? How can this happen? The previous two candidates didn't do this. Especially the second candidate. He lasted for 3,300 years before falling. And this didn't happen either. Pooty was suddenly stunned. Right, the first two candidates, one had a pure heart and the other had a heart that accepted everything. Their method of resisting the pain was different from Luo Feng's. The pure heart would be familiar with the pain and become a part of it. The one with a heart that accepted everything, even the pain. However, the first two were wrong. They weren't wrong in that the pain wasn't on the spirit level. Instead, the crystal was truly absorbing the soul. This wasn't an illusion, it was reality. Maybe their method allowed them to unleash their soul to the limit, not being affected by the pain. However, if they didn't resist, there would be no pressure. Their pressure on the willpower and consciousness wasn't enough. Because they absorbed it, they accepted it. And this Luo Feng chose to resist. Completely resisting the pain, suppressing the pain, definitely not absorbing it, definitely not accepting it. Maybe Luo Feng is in more pain. But isn't this also a kind of cultivation to harden one's heart and temper one's heart? Suppressing the willpower and consciousness to the limit, it finally caused a change, and his willpower and consciousness had a huge leap. Pooty exclaimed. A huge leap gave Luo Feng a lot of leeway. 3,300 years. 3,900 years, 4,000 years, 4,300 years. For 1,900 years, the absorption of the crystal continued, and the soul, tearing pain, steadily increased. Even though Luo Feng had made a huge leap before, after close to 2,000 years, he was once again close to his limit. Is there no way for the Star Tower to recognize an owner? The first 3,200 years is only the first half. The universe master Pooty was shocked because the longest in history was 3,300 years. No one knew how long it would take for the Star Tower to recognize an owner. No one had done it. No one knew the limit, whether it was Pooty or the great being from the other race. They didn't know. If Luo Feng fails, Which of the later candidates from Earth will succeed? Pu Ti's face was filled with worry and anxiety. Chapter 900. 5,000 years. Pu Ti's voice was old, filled with worry. He didn't expect the Star Tower to recognize a master for more than 5,000 years. The previous two candidates lasted for 2,600 years and 3,300 years respectively. Let's hope Luo Feng succeeds. Pu Ti sighed, his voice resounding within the shrine. Virtual Universe, Black Dragon Mountain Island, 9-Star Bay. 9-Star Bay, ancient structures. The entire 9-Star Bay was only where the upper echelon of the Luo family lived. There were many other family members living in other places. As a family with over 10,000 years of history, plus Luo Feng's position in the Ganwu Universe country was only lower than the Ganwu Universe country leader. The Luo family's power was immense. Pa, 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 stepping on the shiny stone floor. Su Xian walked along the pathway. Behind her were two ladies. As the Luo family's highest authority, the family head Luo Feng had always been exploring the world of the strong. The family matters were mainly left to the eldest son Luo Ping. However, many of the bigger matters were left to Su Xian. Su Xian had a special position in the Luo family, and she was also the manager of Pinghai Company. After 10,000 years, her nobility had become even stronger. Being in a high position, she naturally had an awe-inspiring presence. Just one look from her would make her subordinates fearful. Normal people wouldn't even dare look straight at her. However, there was always a faint trace of worry between Su Xian's brows. Master, it's a mail from the leader. Su Xian's virtual assistant suddenly reminded her. Mail! Su Xian, who was walking along the pathway, suddenly stopped, her eyes gleaming with glee. No matter how calm she was still in a mess. He said he was going to do something very important and would shut off the virtual universe. However, this time he disappeared for a total of 6,000 years. I can't find him or contact him. How can I not be worried? Exploring the world of the strong, disappearing for 6,000 years without any news, it was very likely that he had fallen. Luckily, Luo Feng had told his family before shutting off the virtual universe. Madam seems very happy. I've never seen her this happy before. She's always been worried these past few years. However, right now, she's so happy. The two ladies behind were discussing. Indeed, Su Xian was happily looking at the mail. You also know how to say some heartwarming words and say some nice words. Su Xian looked at the email, and her smile became even sweeter. You even remember what happened in high school so clearly. We're already an old couple, and you're still talking about this. The email was very long. There were tens of thousands of words in it. Su Xian walked to the grass outside the corridor and sat on a chair to read it slowly. This was an email full of emotions from when they met to when they fell in love. Su Xian smiled as she read it. She couldn't help but smile. As she watched, her expression began to change. His body trembled slightly, and there was a trace of fear in his eyes. No, no. Su Xian stood up abruptly and screamed hysterically. Tears streamed down her face. I don't want your guilt. I don't want it. This frightened the two female attendants in the distance. They looked at each other and felt that something was wrong. Mom, Mom! Anxious shouts resounded from the distance. A silhouette rushed over, and another followed closely behind. It was Luo Ping and Luo Hai. They were both anxious. The moment they saw Su Xian, they shouted Mom and ran over. They too had received the mail. Close the door. Don't let anyone in. Su Xian ordered the two attendants. Yes, these two attendants were her personal attendants. Whether it was Ping High Company matters or the Luo family matters, Su Xian would often give orders through them. Even though they were attendants, their positions were comparable to the housekeepers of the Luo family. Naturally, they were incredibly intelligent. Knowing that something was wrong, they immediately closed the door and stopped anyone from entering. Mom, what's going on? Dad, is it really? Luo Ping and Luo Hai were anxious. Su Xian hugged her two sons, unable to hold back her tears. Actually, this mail was something that Luo Feng had prepared for his family when he first accepted the life or death inheritance. He had also set it to be automatically sent out after 6,000 years. According to what Luo Feng thought back then, the first two candidates had lasted 2,600 years, while the other had lasted 3,300 years. He estimated that the entire inheritance would last at most 4,000 years. If it was too long, it would be ridiculous. The first two were able to pass the secret test and finally accept the inheritance. They were obviously geniuses of their generation and wouldn't be too far from the limit. Luo Feng had set it to 6,000 years. The first candidate lasted 2,600 years. The entire inheritance would last about 4,000 years. It wouldn't be ridiculous enough to last 6,000 years. Who will be able to last that long? If the life or death inheritance succeeds, I'll delete the mail. If I fail, at least I'll be able to give my family some news. After all, the moment I fall, the virtual universe has always been closed. Even the primal Chaos City leader teacher probably wouldn't know of my fall. With his level of being, he may train for tens of millions of years, up to hundreds of millions of years. Who knows when he'll revive me? And Su Xian's lifespan is at most 10 million years. Luo Feng was very worried. He believed that even if he fell, his teacher would reverse time and space to revive him. However, what if he waited for tens of millions of years, or even hundreds of millions of years? What about his wife? After reviving, his wife, son, parents, and brother would all die. What would he do? Hence, Luo Feng prepared the mail for his family, setting it to be automatically sent 6,000 years later. Your father has met with a crisis. However, he said that he would return in the distant future. The shortest would be 10,000 years, the longest would be 1,000,000 years, or even 10 million years. Su Xian's voice was trembling. Right, it would be 10 million years or even longer. However, her lifespan was only 10 million years. Would she be able to see Luo Feng again? Dad! Luo Ping and Luo Hai were stunned. Let's go. We'll go meet your grandparents. Su Xian resisted the pain and said. After a while, Su Xian, Luo Ping, and Luo Hai met with Luo Honghua, Gong Xian Lan, and Luo Hua. Their faces were filled with pain. The entire Luo family. Luo Feng was the pillar. The humans of Earth, Luo Feng was the pillar too. He had always been there to protect the Luo family from the wind and rain. He allowed the Luo family to be unstoppable, allowing the humans of Earth to be a high and mighty race in the entire Ganwu universe country. But now, this pillar of support had collapsed. Little Feng, Gong Xian Lan's entire body was trembling. Even though Luo Feng had said that he would return in the distant future, the family all felt that these were just words of comfort. Our Luo family, our Earth, is currently facing a huge crisis. Su Xian's voice was hoarse. The others all looked at Su Xian. Luo Feng left his account and password in the mail. This is a contingency plan for our Luo family. It's an incredibly huge amount of wealth. Su Xian said. She had rarely seen Luo Feng in all these years. She didn't expect that the account he left behind in the mail was actually worth 50 billion mixed elements. This was a figure that Su Xian couldn't believe. In the entire Ganwu universe country, other than the Ganwu universe country leader, who else would have such wealth? Everybody quickly prepare a contingency plan. Su Xian said hoarsely. The world is cold and cruel. Everyone is here for profit. If something really happens to Luo Feng, our Luo family would definitely be envied. We don't have enough power to protect our current huge family. I'll immediately go meet Luo Feng's teacher Tru Yin and ask him about this. Quickly go. Go leave the family side to us. Luo Honghua and Luo Hua said. HM. Su Xian nodded. Su Xian was after all a core member of the virtual universe company. She had her own network, plus she had Tru Yan's number in the virtual universe. She quickly contacted him and told him about this. What? Return in the distant future? Tru Yan's expression changed. Different from Su Xian and the others, Tru Yan was an absolute warrior of the universe. He knew a lot. The moment he heard, he understood. Luo Feng meant that in the distant future, he would be revived by reversing time and space. Otherwise, with the virtual universe company covering the entire universe, how could he not be able to contact his family over such a long period of time? I'll go meet the primal chaos city leader. True Yin immediately got anxious. Sorry to trouble you, Senior True Yin, Su Xin said excitedly. I am his teacher. True Yin immediately left the virtual universe company. Primal Chaos City. True Yin immediately rushed to the Primal Chaos City leader's residence to meet him. What kind of position was the Primal Chaos City leader? Even True Yin would never be able to see the city leader's true body, unless it was an extremely special situation. And this time, he had seen it. You say Luo Feng may very well have fallen. The Primal Chaos City leader sat crossed-legged amidst the ruins of the other race corpses. Yes, True Yin said respectfully. He's still alive. The city leader said. Still alive? True Yin was shocked. I can confirm that he's always been in the 7th Battlefield Star Tower, and for 6,000 years, he's always been there. The city leader said, he's been there for 6,000 years, and he hasn't connected to the virtual universe company. I can confirm that his life energy is still there. I think he's met with some trouble. That Star Tower. Any danger is normal. True Yan's heart tightened as he heard this. That was Star Tower. On the surface, it looked like it was just a forbidden space with a few guards. However, in truth, it was filled with dangers. One had to know that even universe masters didn't dare enter the depths. One could see how dangerous it was. Within the Star Tower, within the palace surrounded by countless sealed stars, there was a layer of blood on the ground. Luo Feng sat there, his body in pain as his skin was completely torn apart, fresh blood flowing out. The recovery ability of a Sector Lord's body was incredibly strong, with the core providing him with an endless amount of energy. Recovering while simultaneously bleeding, his body was in a state of collapse. This was just a reaction to the pain of his soul being torn apart. From this, one could see how painful it was. 6,000 years. At 5,000 years, he was already close to his limit. At 5,600 years, he had already reached his limit. The last time he was able to transform at the most crucial moment. I don't believe he'll be lucky enough to transform a second time. However, from 5,600 to 6,000 years, a total of 400 years, just what kind of power has been supporting him all this time? Puti sat cross-legged as he looked at Luo Feng, completely shocked. He couldn't imagine how Luo Feng, who had already reached his limit at 5,600 years, could still hold on. The pain of his soul being torn apart had already reached its limit, and he couldn't suppress it anymore. Luo Feng couldn't even train in the Beast God path. At this time, he couldn't even train in it anymore. Other than resisting the tearing of his soul, the only thing he could do was have one thought. I want to see you all again. You all. You all. Luo Feng only had one thought left in his mind, his family, his parents and brothers, his wife and children. He didn't want them to all die after he revived. He couldn't accept it all. At the final moment, he only had you all in his mind, his loved ones. I want to. I really do. His soul had already begun to shatter. However, it was being forcefully reformed by a formless willpower and consciousness, shattering, condensing, struggling. Luo Feng's only thought was struggling, calling out to his loved ones. He felt guilty. He couldn't bear to. However, the crystal continued to mercilessly merge with him, and the tearing of his soul grew more intense. He was on the verge of collapsing. I really wanted you all. Chapter 901. He couldn't think anymore. His soul that was on the verge of collapse couldn't even think anymore. There was only obsession. The only thing that was keeping his soul together was the last bit of obsession that still existed. You're still persevering. Your soul has long crumbled, and yet you're still persevering. Puti sighed. Child, you're too tired. If you can't take it, just give up. With his unbelievable power as the universe lord, he had long seen through Luo Feng's soul's condition. To be able to persevere until now, he was already feeling pity for this child, including the 6,000 years of accepting the life and death inheritance. He's only lived for over 10,000 years. Too young. Still a child. Puti shook his head. He was the first servant of the foreign race. In the most ancient times, during the initial stages of the vast universe's evolution, he had followed the foreign race. His lifespan was incredibly long. To him, the limit of a sector lord's lifespan of 1,000 years was only considered an adult. As for Luo Feng, including the 6,000 years of life and death inheritance, he had only lived for over 10,000 years. In the vast universe, he was indeed very young. Kiki, Luo Feng's body trembled. He unconsciously made noises as fresh blood flowed out, just like a fish on a shore about to die. He was struggling. He wasn't willing to die just like that, even though he knew he would be revived in time and space. Pu Ti's snake tail coiled, silently gazing at the dying Luo Feng. Pu Ti understood. This youth was struggling with all his might. You're very powerful. The first candidate had 2,600 years, the two in D, 3,300 years, yet you've persevered for over 6,000 years. Very powerful. You should be proud of yourself. Give up. Pu Ti was very clear on how tragic it was to be in such a situation. He couldn't even think. His soul was beginning to crumble. Star Pagoda? This life and death inheritance. Why is it so difficult? Pu Ti sighed, looking at Luo Feng, who was unconsciously making noises, trembling and bleeding. Luo Feng had once undergone life nirvana. That was back on Earth when he burned his soul to kill the golden horned beast. That time, he was in a situation of certain death, even to the point where he was willing to die just to kill the golden horned beast. Fate toyed with him. Who would have thought he would be able to take over the golden horned beast, beginning an exciting journey? The genius battles pride. The Ganwu Department's supervisor envoy, the primal chaos city leader's direct disciple, slaughtering countless emperors like dogs, becoming the Blade River Emperor. It was indeed glorious, extremely exciting, and now Luo Feng was experiencing another nirvana. This was the second nirvana of life. As long as the nirvana was successful, they would be able to survive. Failure in nirvana would mean death. Luo Feng unconsciously trembled as he let out a groaning sound. His expression was twisted and his skin was torn. He was even more miserable than most of the dead. One side was life, the other was death. Luo Feng was struggling on this line. The crazy wind was madly blowing at him, blowing him towards death. However, his endless determination made Luo Feng grab onto this line of life and death, working hard towards life. No matter how strong one's obsession was, it was still limited. As long as the life and death inheritance continued, the tearing of one's soul would be everlasting, constantly intensifying and strengthening. Luo Feng was like a person running on the road, trying his best to increase his speed. However, the road roller behind him was also increasing its speed steadily, continuously closing in. He was finally close. Within the Star Pagoda, within the countless forbidden grounds, the alien race, undyings from all over the universe, were all shocked. What happened? Why is the forbidden space shaking? Rumble, the countless forbidden spaces seemed to be shaken by a giant, shaking violently. Simultaneously, the 9-light-year-tall Star Pagoda shook slightly. However, as it was surrounded by the endless 9 spiral nebula, it was hard to tell. Within the countless forbidden spaces, the alien race undyings had no idea what was happening. At the same time, in an incredibly distant and terrifying place, within the endless energy flows, a lonely palace emanating green light floated within. Within the palace, there were many servants, all of them universe knight level. On a throne in one of the halls of the palace, a towering old man with a height of over 90,000 kilometers was sitting there, listening to the respectful reports of his servants. Suddenly, his expression changed slightly, and he turned his head to look in a direction. It was as if he could see the Star Tower through the endless space-time. The Star Pagoda's most basic owner recognition, it actually lasted for so long. That Earth youth actually managed to persevere. Haha. After 1 trillion years of waiting, the Earth's bloodline has finally produced the most exceptional one. The majestic old man suddenly stood up. So, he had already vanished into thin air. Success? Puti looked shocked at Luo Feng, who had stopped trembling as he laid there. He could already feel that Luo Feng's obsession was getting more and more unbearable. It seemed like he was about to be finished. He could at most last another 2 to 3 years. One had to know that Luo Feng had already lasted for 6,092 years. With the absorption lasting for thousands of years, what was the point of 2 to 3 years? Who would have thought that he would already reach the street? No matter how powerful the road roller was, once it ran out of fuel, naturally, it couldn't move anymore. Just now, the crystal bead had finally completely fused with his soul. It was a complete fusion. Time fate. Actually, if it wasn't for Luo Feng's incomparably firm heart and determination to resist, he wouldn't have undergone that transformation at 3,200 years. Without that transformation, no matter how strong his obsession was, he wouldn't have been able to last for 3,000 years. Even with this metamorphosis, it was impossible. If it wasn't for Luo Feng's obsession miraculously persevering for close to 500 years, he wouldn't have waited until the very last moment. He would have welcomed the successful nirvana transformation. With luck and hard work, only then would he welcome a new life. I've succeeded. Luo Feng opened his eyes. The world energy shook off the blood on his body. His fatigued eyes were filled with joy. I've succeeded. I've succeeded. I can return to see you all. His mood was joyful and relaxed. The endless fatigue from his soul immediately surged up and drowned Luo Feng's consciousness. Rumble. Luo Feng, who had been sitting cross-legged, even when he was on the brink of life and death, he still sat cross-legged. At this time, he suddenly collapsed and laid on the ground without moving, completely in a deep sleep. He fell asleep? He actually fell asleep? Puti looked at this and laughed. For a sector lord to fall asleep from exhaustion and lose consciousness, it's really rare. Undyings would lose too much of their god body and soul, causing them to fall into a deep sleep. And the moment a sector lord's soul shattered, they would die. Unless one was like Luo Feng, who had squeezed out too much of his soul's potential, squeezing it out time and time again, completely exceeding the limits of his soul's potential. Only then would he fall into a deep sleep after succeeding. As the soul itself was too tired, it needed to absorb energy to recover. However, normal warriors, being able to perfectly unleash the soul's potential was already not bad, much less exceeding the limits. Hence, for a sector lord to fall unconscious from exhaustion, it was 1 in 100 million. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, when a sector lord lost consciousness from exhaustion, this sleep naturally lasted for a long time. However, as his soul was complete, he naturally didn't need to sleep for an eternity like a god. Luo Feng slept for over 9 years. It's been a very long time since he had a dream. Luo Feng laid in the palace within the Star Tower, sleeping there with a smile on his face, almost like he was dreaming of something very happy. And in the palace, other than Luo Feng, there were 2 other terrifying absolute beings from the universe, watching this scene. Luo Feng's eyes suddenly opened. From sleeping to dreaming. Obviously, his soul had completely recovered. When he finished his dream, he opened his eyes too. Child. A warm voice resounded, just like the voice from the black metal board, causing Luo Feng to immediately stand up and turn to look. There were 2 silhouettes ahead. One was the familiar universe, Lord Puti. At this time, Puti had retracted his aura and was very low profile as he sat in a corner. And in the center of the palace, at the very front, stood a majestic 900 tall silhouette. He was dressed in a seemingly normal green armor, with 2 transparent horns on his forehead. He was currently looking down at Luo Feng. Endless energy enveloped the entire palace. Under this endless energy, Luo Feng felt like a normal human under the sun's rays. He didn't feel any pressure at all. Instead, it was very comfortable. This made Luo Feng immediately understand that this wasn't pressure, but the natural life energy emitted by this absolute being. Just this energy alone had already surpassed Puti and the primal chaos city leader. Universe origin laws. I can't feel the universe origin laws anymore. Luo Feng was shocked within. How can this be? How can I not feel the origin laws? A strong warrior's training was to feel the universe origin laws. The clearer the feeling, the faster one's training. However, whether it was his earth body or the Masha clansman or golden horned beast in his internal world, they couldn't feel the origin laws working, almost like this absolute being before him. With his life energy pervading the area, even the universe origin laws had to retreat. This is the power of the strongest warrior in the universe. Luo Feng looked at the 900m tall old man before him. He was shocked within. Even the universe origin laws can't suppress it. No wonder he was able to create the 9 Calamity Manual, this terrifying technique that goes against the universe origin laws. It's simply too. His 900m height made Luo Feng tremble. It was rare for a human to be this tall. What he didn't know was that this powerful being's true body height was over 90,000 kilometers. As a unique life form, in terms of talent and vitality, it was countless times higher than the golden horned beast. It was only because he wanted to enter the palace to meet Luo Feng that he shrunk to 900m. Congratulations from now on. You are the leader of Earth. You have the right to be ranked amongst the absolute warriors of the universe. The majestic old man's voice rumbled, piercing deep into Luo Feng's heart. Beside, the Universe Lord Pu Ti smiled as he looked at Luo Feng. Happy for him too. Third Junior, congratulations. End of 3 chapters. Today's 3 chapters have been written with great focus and excitement. If everyone is satisfied with it, then throw some monthly votes to support Tomato. Chapter 902. Luo Feng was touched by the words, qualified to be ranked among the universe super great beings. These words were uttered by a universe supreme master, a great being of another race who could rival huge axe creator. In the eyes of a great being of another race, to be called a universe super great being, one had to at least be a universe master. The powerful figure of the alien race had 2 disciples. The first, Pu Ti, was a universe master. The second, the leader of the flame god race, was also a universe master. Luo Feng was about to become the 3rd disciple. He probably had hopes of becoming a universe master too. This made Luo Feng's heart burn. Universe master, reaching pinnacle universe knights like Tian Shi Palace leader and Shi Luo Duo were already considered universe overlords. If they were to take another step into the universe master level, with time and space in his hands, he could reverse the flow of time and space to revive a warrior, allowing an entire race to have an endless life force. The Earthling race, the Flame God race, they're all my children. The towering old man gazed down at Luo Feng, his voice rumbling. You've passed many secret tests and passed the Star Tower inheritance test. Even if you're my disciple, you'll probably be my last one. Luo Feng was shocked. Last disciple? Who could say for sure how long the future would be? This great being seemed to have confirmed that he only had 3 disciples. Don't be shocked. The majestic old man's gaze was like the sun, shining straight into Luo Feng's soul. For you and your second senior, early on in the universe's evolution, I already had plans and plans. I spent countless years acquiring treasures, and most of them were given to the 2 of you. More than half. Luo Feng was shocked. For example, even if the entire human race used all their strength to create this Star Tower, even if you had my forging skills, how many could you create? The giant elder turned to look at Pu Ti. On the other hand, I helped Pu Ti the least. Pu Ti bowed. Teacher, without your help, I would have remained an undying for my entire life. Even without me, you would still have become a universe knight. The towering elder shook his head. Back then, I took in many servants, and all of them were extremely talented. I helped all of them, and they all had similar talents. However, they all became universe knights. Only you became a universe master. Unfortunately, every supreme treasure in the universe has very strict requirements for recognizing an owner. For your second and third junior brothers, I started preparing before they were born. Disciple already has a supreme treasure. Pu Ti said, yours is nothing. Among the 6 pinnacle races and the various powers of the universe masters, Your treasure is only of an ordinary standard. The towering old man shook his head. I'm preparing a supreme treasure for you. I've collected it for countless eras, and I've already taken a rough shape. I reckon that in another 10 million eras, there will be hope. Puti prostrated in excitement and said gratefully, "What teacher has done, this disciple will do his best to repay." "Ha! My disciple is naturally extraordinary." The towering elder laughed. "I just hope that one of you three can catch up to me." "Ha! That would be a great story in the universe. Teacher and disciple are all universe supreme masters." "Ha ha!" Luo Feng listened and was convinced. The number of disciples accepted by this powerful being was very few. Furthermore, the second and third disciples had each taken the initiative to guide and nurture a new race, creating secret arts and so on, and selecting the most outstanding ones to become his disciples. One could see how stringent this great being's selection of disciples was. If he hadn't taken the initiative to nurture the two races, the towering elder would have chosen the only universe master to become his first disciple. Other than that, even with the trillions of races in the universe, countless eras, countless geniuses, the great being didn't take in a single disciple. Primal Chaos City leader was different. He shouldered the responsibility of the human race. And as long as there were some super geniuses or exceptional beings, the human universe masters would take them in as disciples one by one, resulting in a pile of true disciples. The number of disciples in name was even more shocking. Even huge Axe Creator was no exception. With race ties, that was how it was. And the great being was a unique life form in the universe. Without race ties, no matter how many geniuses you were, he couldn't be bothered to teach them. The races he nurtured were like his own children. That was why he took care of them. "Disciple Luo Feng, you haven't called me teacher yet." The towering elder looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng knelt down respectfully and shouted excitedly, "Teacher!" This powerful being of a different race was the guide of the Earth race. It could be said that he was the creator of the Earth race. Without this powerful being of a different race, there would be no Earth race. "Good. You are my disciple. And as your teacher, I have to do my duty." The towering elder's voice rumbled as he looked down at Luo Feng. "I have 3 habits when teaching my disciples. Firstly, I like to prepare the best resources in the universe for my disciples. Secondly, I won't teach any techniques. Thirdly, I won't care if you live or die, and I won't reverse time and space to revive you after you die." Luo Feng was stunned. Not teaching techniques? Not caring about life or death? "A true super expert can't be taught," Yi Futian said. The towering elder said solemnly, "Everything depends on you. Any universe master has to create their own techniques to reach that level. If you have your teacher protecting you at all times, you won't become a great warrior. When I teach my disciples, I don't teach techniques. I don't care if they live or die. I only provide resources and treasures." The towering elder said, "If you fall on the way to becoming an absolute warrior, I will choose another candidate from the Earth race to accept the life or death inheritance and find another third disciple. The 2 races I nurture are destined to have a leader, and there may not only be one leader. You can only be said to be the leader of this generation, and I hope you will always be the leader." His voice rumbled and entered Luo Feng's soul. And this great being's voice seemed to have endless power, making one involuntarily believe him. "Understood," Luo Feng said respectfully. "You understand the theory. No matter how powerful the teacher is, no matter how many resources and treasures are provided, if the disciple doesn't train, then even becoming undying is impossible." The towering elder said solemnly, "External resources are important, and one's own hard work is even more important. However, the stronger one is, the less useful external help is. With endless treasures, no matter how bad one's talent is, as long as one trains, one can become undying. However, to become a universe knight, that's a harsh requirement on one's own hard work. Becoming a universe master is even more difficult. If you become a universe master, you want to take another step forward and reach my level. No treasure will be of any use to you. Your first and second senior brothers have been stuck at this step for countless years. Among your human race, other than huge axe creator, none of the others have taken the final step. I understand. I will work hard. Luo Feng was excited. Many great warriors were afraid of not having enough resources. Why did the pinnacle races and superpowers fight? Why did they fight? It was all for resources. To nurture geniuses, they needed resources. To grow, they also needed resources. With resources, it was like having a foundation. The rest would depend on one's own hard work. And what this great being had prepared for Luo Feng was to give him the right to be ranked amongst the universe's absolute warriors. This qualification was those resources that made one's heart tremble. I prepared 2 true treasures for you and your second senior. A total of 4 true treasures. 3 of the supreme treasures are about the same level. Only the Star Tower. Of your 2 supreme treasures, the Star Tower is very special. It's even more powerful than your second senior brother's supreme treasure. The towering old man sighed emotionally. In the past, I spent countless precious materials and treasures to refine the supreme treasure, Star Pagoda. However, something special happened in the middle. Something out of my expectations caused the Star Pagoda's power to greatly increase. It was one of the strongest treasures in the universe. Even though its power increased greatly, its basic recognition was thousands to tens of thousands of times harder. In order for the Star Tower to recognize its owner, I specially guided and nurtured the descendants of Earthlings who had stronger willpower and consciousness in their souls. Even so, the first and second candidates still failed. Back then, the Flame God race easily made it recognize its master, unlike you, who had to work so hard. Luo Feng sighed within. Yes, it was tough. When he recalled the 6,000 years of torment, every second felt as long as a year. These 6,000 years were more difficult than 100 million years of normal life. It was as if he was in an endless purgatory with no end in sight. He had endured all the difficulties, persevered and persevered. In the end, only his obsession with his loved ones kept him going until he got weaker and weaker. Luckily, he succeeded at the last moment. The Star Tower's power is extremely strong. Due to the special changes, even I don't know its limits. Just the basic recognition is already so difficult, to activate it is much harder. The towering elder said. Luo Feng understood that the basic form of the Sha Wu wings required one to comprehend the first level of the Beast God transformation. The Sha Wu wings had very little use for universe masters. However, the Star Tower was a treasure suitable for universe masters, one of the strongest treasures in the universe. Without its master controlling it, the universe masters were helpless. Even the universe masters of the 4 pinnacle races couldn't do anything about it. The conditions to use it were naturally much harsher than the Sha Wu wings. Your human teacher, the primal Chaos City leader, is one of the top universe masters in the vast universe. Even your second senior is only barely comparable to him, or maybe even slightly weaker. However, if you become a universe master in the future with these 2 treasures, especially the Star Tower, it's enough to make you comparable to the city leader or even suppress him. This is the power of the strongest true treasures. The towering elder said. The Star Tower is one of the true treasures, and the other one I prepared for you is called the Force Armor. Force Armor? Luo Feng was stunned. The Force Armor has always been within the Flame God race, and your second senior is temporarily in charge of it. This Force Armor, with special resources, it can produce large amounts of armor pearls of varying strengths. They are the Soldier, General, King, and Emperor armor pearls. These are very suitable for the Flame God race, but they are only used by Universe Knights and below. At most, they can only increase the overall strength of the race. That Force Armor is the true treasure, and it's suitable for Universe Masters. Its power is limitless, and it's your second true treasure. Luo Feng was overwhelmed with emotions. Soldier, General, King, Emperor, They were all produced from the Force Armor. One is the Force Armor, and the other is the Star Tower, which is even more terrifying than the Force Armor. The Great Being prepared these two treasures for the leader of the Earth race to dominate the universe. These two are even more intrepid than the Sha Wu wings, and they're enough to make universe masters go crazy for them. I hope the conditions for using them aren't too harsh. Luo Feng began to worry. With his strength, could he use such terrifying treasures?